Hello and welcome to Devil's Advocate. I'm Ben. As always, I'm joined by Sean.
Hello.
And today, we're going to make or break our broadcasting journalist careers by talking about royal scandals in the British royal family specifically.
Oh, definitely. We're going to break it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we're not cancelled already.
In all fairness, we could end up being, sort of superstars at this point, or we could end up being broken and horribly humiliated.
Probably broken and horribly humiliated.
Yeah.
Chased out of the town.
Yeah, tarred and feathered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we have a new mic, so that's
We
cool.
do.
Yeah, so that's why we sound even better than usual, which is hard to top, to be fair.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only sound quality stopping us.
Yeah.
But, all right. Royal scandals.
Yep.
The British royal family in particular.
Yeah.
Let's face it. Actually, the House of Windsor, or to give them their proper name, the Saxe-Coburg-Gürtens.
That's the original name of the royal family.
Changed in 1918.
Oh, wow. That's
Because-
German then.
Yes.
Yeah.
The royal family in this country are German.
Wow.
Yeah. Let that sink in for a moment, all you British patriots.
Yeah.
Your royal family's German. You know that anyway, but you just choose to ignore it.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people don't know that.
I think a lot of people do.
Is it common knowledge, is it?
I'd say so. Then again, maybe not. Who knows? Maybe I'm just more highly educated than your average man in the street who waves a St. George cross and says, God save the Queen.
I've never seen anyone do that.
Oh, no,
Have you?
Never been to a football match, have you?
No.
No, there you go.
No.
Also known as the Firm.
Yeah.
They are, you want, I think you can make a comparison to the British monarchy, the royal family, to a crime family,
To the mafia.
to the mafia,
Oh, I
to
like
the Sopranos. I think you can.
Yeah. Is this because you've been like binge watching The Sopranos and you want to find the connection?
I tell you what, I'm late to that party. I'm very, very, very late to that party.
Yeah.
But the early episodes are set in the 90s, and it's like
Wow.
there's quite a nostalgic. Like, wow, my house was like that. I'm not the same age as Tony's son at this point,
Wow.
and it's like, wow, this is some real nostalgia coming in for me.
That was like one of the best shows in the 90s, wasn't it?
Oh mate, it's genuinely James Gandolfini is phenomenal in that.
Yeah.
I am a late comer to this party. Everything R.I.P.D. to James. He's dead now.
Oh, is he? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Everything that his performance has been said, but my God, he was fucking brilliant in that show.
Yeah.
His scenes with his psychiatrist in particular, wow.
Really good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only in like season 2.
How many seasons are there?
6, I think.
Oh, wow.
But yeah.
I was
Anyway,
only a kid when that came out, so I didn't really see it, but I'll have to check it out.
definitely do.
Yeah.
Just go. Yeah, you'll love it. So yes, the Firm, like a crime family, is that little pleasing detour into my recent obsession.
I liked it, man. I liked it.
All right, then. So let's go back to the turn of the 19th century, 20th century.
Yeah.
All right. Now you've got a guy, King Edward VII.
Yeah.
Before he was King Edward VII, he was Prince Albert.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Whether there's any connotation there with the popular male piercing, I don't know. All right. But it seems likely because he was a bit of a hedonist.
Oh, okay.
Yes, okay. You know, he's heir to the throne. His mum's Queen Victoria. His dad is the very austere Prince Albert, who dutifully knocked about 9 kids out of Victoria in what I assume was very passionless sex.
Jeez.
But he did his royal duty and did it nonetheless.
Did it well.
Yes. Yeah.
Can't knock him
He
for
did
that.
it so well, mate. He did it so well that when he died, she went into mourning. He died quite young. She lived another 40 years after him,
Wow.
right? And she wore black
The whole time.
the entire time. She
Wow.
missed his dick that much, right? That much
No
that
way.
she went into mourning for it for 40 years.
Guy's good at laying pipe.
And he banged 9 kids out of her.
Wow.
So I think Prince Albert deserves the title of Honorary Swan's Neck.
Your Swan's Neck the second.
You know what? I can't compete with those accomplishments at the moment. So yeah, I am.
Oh, man.
Now, Edward liked the finer things in life, and he particularly liked the ladies. He would
I got that from the 9 kids.
No, this is Edward. This is not his dad. This
Oh,
is...
okay.
Yeah. We'll call him Edward because he's King Edward, but his given name was Albert. They changed their names to a more regular royal name.
Okay, yeah.
He would travel over to Paris on a regular basis because that was the best place if you liked the ladies. It was a much freer society than Victorian England, which is all focused on death and mourning and wearing black and top hats and wearing heavy felt on hot summer's days.
Not a lot's really changed. We're still very focused on death.
Death actually was a death. Death is a complete contrast in some ways because death nowadays isn't really talked about that much in terms of families terms, whereas in Victorian England it was very much a thing in everyday life.
Yeah.
You know, you might have 6 or 7 brothers and sisters and only 3 of you survive. You know, death is a big thing every day in Victorian England.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays it's when someone's old or sick. What they didn't talk about, like nowadays, is sex. The Victorians never mentioned sex.
Nah.
It was just a thing for knocking kids out. That was it.
Yeah.
Nowadays, sex is everything.
It sells.
It sells. So he liked his women, he liked his food, and he put on quite a lot of weight in later life.
No.
Because he was just banging and eating.
The swinging life will do that to you.
Yeah. So he designed a sex chair. There's a theory that this sex chair, as well as being a little bit kinky, frankly was a sort of a help for him to do the business because he was now quite big.
Yeah.
So the way it has been structured has enabled him to remain standing and to access the lady on the chair without his enormous belly getting in the way. Now, picture this thing as a sled.
Yeah.
This thing it is going to be very hard to describe.
I like how you're painting a picture for us.
Yeah.
You gotta do that thing where you do the soothing voice. You paint the picture of the sex chair.
So let me find a picture of it. So I want you to picture a sled. Except this sled, instead of having what they call skates, has 4 long legs, and underneath it, another cushioned bench. At the front of the sex chair, there are 2 stirrups for the lady to put their feet on, and 2, let's call them thrusting handles halfway up the chair.
Thrusting handles.
Now, the gentleman could stand either side of the chair. There's two raised platforms for his feet to stand on. Well, a lady lays back on the top part of the chair. He could then vigorously thrust into her using the handles, while the lady underneath could possibly be rimming his arse.
Oh.
But no one really knows for sure. But what we can all agree on is that it's a wonderful piece of sexual design.
I like how you've thought about this.
I've read quite a few articles on it this afternoon.
You're like, I wonder what sort of angles and positions I could go into with that chair.
I'm going to show Sean a picture of the chair. There you go.
Yeah.
Listener, you can find this if you just type in Dirty Bertie's sex chair. You can find
I don't know
this
whether or not that's like genius or crazy.
It's a fine line between genius and crazy, isn't it, Sean?
Yeah.
I think we can both agree on that.
I'm like, what am I looking at?
Yeah. But would you agree that those are thrusting handles?
Yeah, I'd say so.
You can grip on.
Yeah.
Now, I like the fact there's enough room for the lady to either lie on her back or her front.
It could be so no one
With the
falls
stirrups
off as
up.
well. You can hold on to them so you don't fall off.
Also true. And then the person underneath there can do whatever. Everything from receiving some kind of golden shower, maybe even some scat.
Yeah.
Or maybe just some good old-fashioned rimming. Who knows? But yeah, I think we can all agree there's a definite menage a trois feel going on about it. And in Paris, that was absolutely fine.
Is that in like a museum now?
Yes, it is.
Is it really?
It is, yes.
Where?
Hang on. I'll tell you, it's at the end of the article. Oh, dear.
And what do they have it labelled as?
Sex chair.
Do they really?
Yes.
They're just straight up, just says in French, sex chair.
Yeah.
Is it in like a sex museum?
Oh, sadly does not have where this is, but it is still a thing. It is held somewhere.
Yeah. Is it
I know
a
that
sex
much.
museum, do you think?
Probably, maybe the Sex Museum in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
I think it actually might be still in the like brothel where it was in Paris, which is
Oh, okay.
now sort of probably some kind of high class club kind of thing. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think it's still there.
Wow. That's crazy.
You gotta love it, don't you?
Yeah. It's so crazy. You wouldn't believe it unless you physically saw the chair.
Yeah. So I advise all of you to go and look at that chair.
Do you know what I like? You were telling me about this earlier today. And when you showed me the picture of the chair, the guy that had written the article, bless his soul, it draw little stick people of the positions you could have on the chair.
Yeah. And there was quite a few.
There was, yeah. He literally, he was like you. He thought about it in detail, and he thought, you know what? People need to know. I'm going to draw stick people.
Hey, I didn't go that far. I just, did various.
Use your imagination.
Use my imagination.
He was like, you know what? Everyone needs to know. I'm going to draw these stick people. The stick people look like they're having a good time, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on slightly. So we've gone from the turn of the century there, and we're going to come to 1920s, 1930s now.
Yeah.
To Edward the Seventh. Edward the Eighth, the abdication.
Mm-hmm.
The king that never was, and apparently was a really great guy, all-round fucking handsome dude.
Yeah.
Clever, smart, funny, good at sports, loved the ladies, loved his horse racing, loved his polo.
Yeah.
Should have been the king. His father did have some grave misgivings about him, thinking that he liked the pussy more than everything else.
Yeah.
His father was probably right, in all fairness. Yeah. So he meets this American woman called Mrs. Wallace Simpson, who everyone says had this fantastic charisma about her. Now, she'd been married, she was married once and divorced.
Yeah.
And she was married when she met the Prince of Wales at this point. He's the heir to the throne. Now, I don't think she's that hot.
Yeah.
I've looked at her.
Wait, she was married to the Prince of Wales?
No, she was eventually.
Oh, okay.
She was married to an American businessman to start with, and then married to another American businessman.
Yeah.
So she's not only American, she's also twice married, once divorced.
Oh, okay, so I bet the royal family didn't like that.
No. And American.
Yeah.
I mean, she did have like a sort of, let's say, wealthy, poor upbringing.
Yeah.
It's like they were probably massively in debt, but maintained their lifestyle.
The wealthiness, yeah.
Yeah. He met her in a social circle. They started hanging out, and he had this girlfriend at the time.
Mm.
And she was like, "Oh, I can't go on this trip to New York with Edward. Would you mind escorting him and make sure he doesn't get too lonely?"
Mm.
Right? She's like their sort of what do they call it when a chaperone?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
She's like, "I can't go on this trip. I've got this commitment I have to do. Will you go with him?" And when they came back, she was like just blatantly aware that they fucked.
Yeah.
And fucked a lot.
Oh dear.
And he was
maybe shouldn't have sent another woman with a partner.
Yeah. So they basically hooked up, and it was kept a secret for a long time because at the time the British press did not have, had an agreement that they would never embarrass the royal family.
Yeah.
The foreign press could do as they wanted.
Yeah.
But how many people in Britain read foreign papers at the
That's
time?
true, yeah.
Like 0.1% of the population.
That's kind of a thing that's still going on now, isn't it? This sort of deal with the press.
Of course.
Yeah. It's
well,
kind
Prince
of like
Harry alluded to that in his interview.
We'll get to that later. Yeah.
Obviously, we're going to talk about the Meghan and Harry thing.
Yeah.
We're riding on the coattails.
Yeah.
We're trying to give you people some historical learning.
Yeah. That's it. We've tricked everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, I wonder if this is to do with them. It's like, yes, it is to do with them, but we also want to whack in some history first.
Yes.
We'll build to that.
Yes. We'll have a good long discussion about that.
Yeah.
Don't worry. I mean, the best of it is, basically the government, the Prime Minister turned around to Edward and said, look, you can't marry this woman.
Twice divorced.
For a start, the Church of England, you're head of the church as your job as king, and the Church of England won't let you marry a woman that's been twice divorced.
American?
Not so much. It was they didn't like if your divorced husband was still alive.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's like, well, your last husband's still alive, so we don't want to marry
the
you.
religious side of it, isn't it? Yeah.
And then he said, well, all right, okay, let's try and work out a compromise here.
Yeah.
I stay king because basically everyone fucking loves me.
Yeah.
The public think I'm great, basically, because
Yeah.
I've been out. I'm more for this down for this like
Being cool.
being cool, royalty more in touch with the public,
Yeah.
kind of thing. A bit like Diana,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
many ways, because George, his dad, George, thought after the war, we've got to rebrand the name, we've got to rebrand the family.
Yeah.
We've got to show it as a family unit. This is what you should all aspire to as a family unit. We've got to be untouchable.
So make the cool kid the head of the family.
That's it. We make the cool kid the head of the family. They sent his brothers and his sisters out to do various stuff, but he was the cool kid. He's the ace up their sleeve.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's gone, well, how about I take the throne. She doesn't become queen, but I marry her. And any heirs we produce, any offspring we produce aren't in line to the throne.
Okay. That
So
sounds like a good deal.
It does, and the Parliament voted it down.
Wow.
So nah,
Reasonable.
they said, nope, we're not having it.
Yeah.
There are standards to be maintained. What would your dad think?
He's the king.
Doesn't matter.
I'd be like,
He's
fuck you
he's
guys.
not just the king, he's the fucking emperor of India as well.
Yeah.
He's the king of the British Empire and the emperor of India.
And they told
He's
him
one of
no.
the most powerful men on the planet at this point. The British Empire is at its zenith.
And they told him no.
And they said no.
If that was
Fuck
Henry
you.
VIII, he'd be like, I'm going to marry her anyway.
Yeah,
Try and stop
remember,
me. Come at me, bros.
the king at this point is only a constitutional monarch, not
Yeah.
an absolute one.
Yeah, yeah. It's
George
changed.
IV sort of that.
Yeah, it's changed.
Um,
I'd be like, I'm bringing that shit back then. You guys want to be assholes about this?
Well, you see, that's always an interesting point because as a member of the armed forces, you swear allegiance to the Queen
Yeah.
and not Parliament,
Yeah.
which you'd think after the Civil War would make more sense. But no, you swear allegiance to the monarchy.
So really, in theory, at any point, any of these people, like that king then could have just went, you know what, I'm going to marry her, and if you don't like it, I'm basically going to just become an absolute monarch again.
Yeah, if you don't like it,
The army
you can suck my big old king balls.
Yeah, that's what. If I was him, I'd be like, you know what, I'm going to do it, and you're going to go along with it. Otherwise, I'm going to turn this into an absolute monarchy again and take it over by military force.
Then you'd end up with a civil war again, though.
Yeah, you would, but I mean, I think they'd back down.
Because
after
remember-
that. It's just a threat, isn't it?
Yeah,
So you can
remember-
marry the woman you love.
The royal family were popular
Yeah.
at this time in the country, it's the 1930s. Remember, you also had the economic crash
Yeah,
of the 30s. 150 people a day in Britain were dying of starvation.
That's not good.
No. So there was a lot of resentment towards the upper classes who were
Yeah.
getting by so well while the lower class was starving. And also, the lower classes are made up of lots of trained soldiers who'd spent a lot of time in France.
Yeah, and we
It's
all
a
know
situation that you don't really want.
it's not great, really, to send trained soldiers to a country where they like to overthrow their monarchies and their leaders and cut all their heads off.
Yeah.
It's not a great place to send people.
No.
The French do like themselves a revolution.
They do.
Yeah.
But anyway, to cut a long story short, Edward abdicated. And
So he could marry her.
so he could marry her. He
Yeah.
chose the woman over the crown.
Man, she must have been good.
She must have been.
Must have been proper and
I
over
always
there.
sense this like she's quite a domineering character,
Yeah.
and he's very submissive
He's
to her.
just a laid back sort of.
I mean, his ex-girlfriend said that he went to reach for a grape, and like she slapped his hand, and I said, "This is the fucking heir to the throne at this point
Maybe he
of
liked
the
it.
British Empire." I think there might have been a dom sub thing going on.
Yeah, and he loved it.
Maybe so.
Yeah.
He had to be the dominant one in public, but in the bedroom it was very different.
So he was getting slapped around.
I think he might have been getting pegged.
No. Oh, just like the King of England getting pegged.
No, he wasn't. He was the Duke of Windsor at the time. He was
Yeah, but he would have been the King of England.
Interesting.
One day he would have been.
yeah. Well, interesting fact. He moved to France when he left the thing. When he abdicated
Yeah.
in favour of his brother, father of our current queen,
Yeah.
and met up with Hitler
Everyone was like,
in
oh,
Germany.
everyone was like, oh, no, I don't want him to be king. And he's like, look, guys, I know I'm not as cool as that guy, but at least I wasn't getting pegged on the regular.
Yeah. And look, I've got a nice looking wife and 2 kids already.
Yeah,
Hey.
he's set up and ready to go.
Set up and ready to go.
Yeah.
So they moved to France. Edward got very, very pally with Hitler.
Oh, dear.
They were quite matey.
Oh, okay.
Even to the point where there's a picture from 1933. I think the Queen is very young, and
Yeah.
she's with Uncle Edward, and
Yeah.
he's teaching her how to do a Hitler salute.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess if they're German descendants, at what point do they become German?
Well, that's it. I mean, you've still got German blood running through your
That's what I
veins.
mean. So
Although technically, I suppose Elizabeth is half German, half Scottish.
yeah.
Her mom, who was the Queen Mother. Do you remember the Queen Mother? Elizabeth
Vaguely,
Lyons
vaguely.
Bowles, something like that.
Yeah, vaguely.
She was a Scottish nobility, so
Yeah.
she's got some French in her by the name. Leon's, so she's probably a bit like maybe a quarter Anglo-Saxon.
That's what I mean. Were they pally because he was going back there to kind of see his roots? Was he quite German?
No,
Like,
basically their views towards the sort of lower classes fitted in with Hitler's.
yeah.
And euthanasia, eugenics, breeding the master race. A lot of the aristocracy consider themselves to be above the plebs.
Yeah.
So a lot of the British aristocracy, to be fair, agreed with Hitler.
Yeah.
But, obviously some people didn't. The aristocrats aren't in charge of this country.
Yeah.
But a lot of them thought Hitler was all right.
I remember seeing there was pictures of the Queen, wasn't there, or something? She helped out. I'm sure I saw a picture of her. She helped out in one of the
Yeah. She was an ambulance driver in World War II. She was part of the Women's Auxiliary.
Yeah.
And that's wonderfully weird thing with the Queen is that she can only drive. She holds an ambulance license.
Yeah.
And a driving license, but for some reason it works that she can't drive on the road. She can only drive on her private estates.
Oh wow.
But she drove an ambulance in the war. Like she never actually passed a driving test.
So really, I guess that sort of supremacy stopped with her then.
What you've got to look at is during the Second World War, just saying like Uncle Albert from fucking during the war. The royal family toured the East End of London. Had been bombed particularly heavily because that's where the docks were.
Yeah,
and public press PR was like, oh, they were cheered. Oh, come and look. When Buckingham Palace got bombed, the Queen loved it because she's like, oh, look, we're having it as well.
Yeah.
But in reality, they'd lost a bedroom, and the poor old Londoners had lost everything.
Yeah.
And they were actually sort of jeered a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, the kind of sort of white supremacist sort of thing that they had maybe when they visited Germany, by the time she'd come around and she was like riding the old ambulances and whatnot.
Well,
it kind of calmed down.
They had to be seen to be on the British side, didn't they?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's all right. Okay, we might think Hitler's got some good ideas, but it's country versus country now. And at the end of the day, we're the ruling class. And if Hitler invades, then we're the ones who are going to be shot.
Yeah.
So it pays for us to be on the side of us.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a complicated time in history.
Yeah.
It was. Now, I found one that has been largely seems to have been airbrushed from the press, certainly.
Is this that one you were on about earlier with Diana?
No, this is the Duke of Kent. He's the king. He was the current Queen's uncle.
Oh, okay.
A bisexual, drug-taking prince, fifth in line to the throne.
Oh, okay.
And died in a Scottish plane crash, fueling a host of conspiracy theories.
Wow. Almost like maybe they got rid of him because he was like an embarrassment to the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the point where his son, who was one of the wealthiest men in the country, the Duke of Kent,
yeah,
refused to take part in an autobiography of him.
Why?
Because he was just he just quietly declined.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be fair, his father died when he was only 6 weeks
old.
That
from like embarrassment of his dad?
Maybe.
Or because he believed the conspiracy theory that his dad was offed?
Well, I don't know, but basically George Edward Alexander Edmund Windsor would put today's hard-partying rock stars to shame with his drug-taking, drinking, bisexuality, and a habit of dressing in drag.
He's like Oberon, isn't he? But
just
for the English monarchy.
Yeah, he had good looks, was a dashing aviator, a racing driver, and a wizard on the dance floor.
Yeah, he's literally Oberon.
Yeah. That's why I kind of like,
From Game of Thrones.
This guy's fucking ace.
Yeah, he's just having a good time, enjoying his life, living his best life before that was even a saying.
But because of his life of scandal, this is open scandal. He's fucking men and women. He's addicted to drugs, for God's sake. Right? He was shielded because of the press. The press would never come out about the royal family.
Yeah.
You know, and then there was no revelations about the blackmail payoff to a male Parisian lover in possession of a cache of indiscreet letters.
Oh no!
It would not be long known, and it would not be known until long after his death. He'd fathered an illegitimate son whose existence haunted the royal family until that troubled man's tragic death from a heart attack brought on by pills and alcohol.
Who, his son?
Yeah, his illegitimate son.
Oh, conveniently he died. I'm guessing he died quite young.
Yeah,
Yeah, conveniently.
yeah. Now,
It's almost hard not to believe the conspiracies. Like, oh, what you died, and then your illegitimate son died.
Yeah.
With weird circumstances.
Yeah. He was a man of action. He was regarded as one of the finest racing car drivers in Britain and an accomplished dancer.
So he was basically like he was
This
basically
dude's
like
fucking
James Bond, but
Yeah.
just the party animal version.
Once entering and winning a tango competition under an assumed name. But he was actually a bit of a man of the people. He was an attractive guy. He had a common touch. He was cultured, sensitive.
Both men and women loved him.
Yeah, he was more accomplished than both brothers, who
Wow.
went on to be king.
What,
But
both
there's-
of them?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Edward obviously abdicated, and Albert went on to be king.
Wow.
This was the youngest brother.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I get you now.
He's got no monuments.
It's almost like they wanted him to disappear.
Yeah, because he was, having homosexuality, having bisexual sex. He was banging everything that moved.
And he wasn't married. I'm
He got
guessing.
put
Was he
in the
married?
Navy and just decided he was going to fuck
Was he
men.
married?
Yes.
Oh, he was.
He has many lovers, to be fair. He has a lot of
But
lovers.
his wife was very happy with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, he died in a plane crash
I mean,
in the war.
how often?
1942. 13 of the guys on the plane, they hit a mountain in the fog.
Wow, that seems almost too weird to be true.
Yeah, the guy that's like quite an embarrassment to the family.
He hits a mountain.
It's 1942. They're in a flying boat. It's literally designed.
It's a flying boat.
It's got radar. It's designed to be a boat and a plane.
The only way I believe that.
It's an experienced pilot.
Yeah.
It shouldn't really be hitting a mountain.
The only way I believe that to be true is if they're having some sort of party orgy where they're all super drunk and super high and they just crash the plane. Into
You
the
know
mountain.
what? That is a possibility.
That's the only way I believe it.
That is a fucking. They could have just been like, "Hey, party plane!"
Yeah, and they're all just getting super drunk, super high, and like they're like, "Hey, here he is! He's come through!" And they're like, "Wait, who's flying the plane?" And he's like,
Oh,
"Hey, shit!"
Do you remember Iron Man 1?
Yeah.
When Rudy gets to go in the Humvee with Tony, he's like, no, this is the fun V. You go in the humdrum V.
Yeah.
That was that plane, wasn't it? It's
Yeah,
like,
basically.
This is the fun plane.
Yeah. That's the only way I see that happening
Yeah.
for real, and it's not foul
You know
play.
what? I think you've actually just fucked. I think you just cracked that.
I cracked it, yeah.
No, it's like knowing that he's a dude who loves to fuck other dudes
Yeah.
and women and loves to take drugs.
It's just a massive.
He's an opium and cocaine addict. He loves to drink. Yeah.
It's a massive party orgy.
It's just and they're like, hey, if you're sucking my dick,
Who's flying the plane?
Ah!
And he's like,
He's
wait,
like,
he
it's
looks,
okay, he's on autopilot. Oh, there's a mountain up there. Oh, fuck.
he's like, well, wait, I thought you were flying the plane. How is that possible?
I'm over here getting bummed. I'm a power bomb. All right, let's move on to Princess Margaret.
Yep. Oh,
Now-
she's scandalous, isn't she?
She's the Queen's younger sister.
Yeah.
She's hot.
Yeah.
Back in the day, she was hot.
I was going to say, she's not hot now.
No, she's not hot now because she's dead,
That's dark.
but she's hot.
Yeah.
You know,
When did
back
she
in
die?
the 1990 something, maybe
Okay.
2000s.
Wow.
Yeah, she kind of been pushed to the back a lot
Yeah.
because of her youth.
I know very little about the current royal family.
Basically,
The past 100 years.
she wanted to marry an ex-RAF officer who'd been decorated for bravery,
Yeah.
and he was one of her father's staff. And they went, nope,
Boy.
nah, he's divorced. Nah, sorry, can't marry him. Sorry. And that was probably her true love.
Yeah. Oh.
And she ended up just going out, shagging, drinking, smoking, chain smoking. Caused a stir when she lit up a cigarette in a cigarette holder. She always had a cigarette holder.
Yeah. What about that?
Yeah, and she was hot. I mean, there you go, Sean. There's a picture of a young Princess Margaret.
Oh, wow, yeah.
She's quite attractive.
Yeah.
You know, she got married. It didn't work. She had an affair. The film The Bank Job is loosely based on the photos of her in the Caribbean having orgies.
Did she have orgies, or was that never proven?
It was, yeah, it kind of happened, but it was like,
We'll never know for certain.
we'll never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, chances are she was pretty much just banging away. Because she, again,
That's pretty cool.
like with Harry, she didn't really have a lot to do.
No.
She's the Queen's sister.
Yeah.
This is the 60s. The Queen's she's had a couple of kids by the 60s. Margaret's 4 years younger than her.
In a time of peace, you
It's
don't
time
really
of
need
peace.
it.
She's female, and as soon as she has Charles,
Yeah.
she's then bumped down the line.
Yeah. So
Because a male heir, at the time, a male heir takes precedence over a female heir.
Yeah, so she's not really needed, so
No.
might as well just go get banged by everyone, I guess.
There
Orgies while you go on holiday.
you go. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
But, you get the feeling that if she'd just been allowed to marry that dude back in the day, then it all could have been very different.
She could have had the life she wanted with
But
the
again-
person she loved.
I want to point out that this is the royal family and certain standards have to be kept up at this
I
point.
think if they'd have known she was going off banging whoever she wanted and
They
doing
would have
whatever
no
she
control.
wanted,
They-
they probably would have let her marry him.
Yeah. But they didn't.
They probably should. In hindsight, they probably should have. It would have been less of a scandal.
It would have been.
That's probably why she did it, to be fair. She was like, okay, and if you're not letting me be with the person I love, I'm just going to go and fucking embarrass you all
Yeah.
by just living my best life.
And she did. She
A
had
lot of
the,
these royals like that.
she had the money because
Yeah.
she's part of the immediate family.
A lot of these
She looked
royals
like a
that
film
are-
star.
Yeah.
She's a hard drinking, chain smoking, hard fucking woman.
Yeah, a lot of these royals that are not first or second in line, they just kind of go off and do whatever they want, don't they?
Yeah, it's
They
the
have good
rule.
lives.
It's the heir and the spare
Yeah.
philosophy, isn't it?
They're like, fuck it, you know what? I'm going to go off and just party for my entire life.
Yeah, and why not? Sadly, that's what Andy the Nonce did, but we'll get to him.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about Diana
I wouldn't
first.
say that's a party.
No, he was known as the party prince before his noncery.
Yeah.
But let's get on.
really.
We'll get on to that later on. Diana,
Yeah.
big scandal.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on Diana?
I mean,
I mean, the whole conspiracy has its place in another podcast at a different time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But,
I
I
guess
mean-
we should skate over it briefly. I mean,
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
quite young when all this happened. so-
1997. So
yeah, I
old
would
were
have been
you?
like 6.
I was a teenager,
Yeah,
and I remember my mom coming into my room at 8 in,
I'd be very sad about it.
sitting on my bed, waking me up and going, "Diana's died." And I'm like, I don't have an anti-Diana. What the fuck's going on? And like, it's 8 o'clock and I'm like 14, so I'm too old to be drinking.
Yeah, you're like, leave me alone.
But it's like at the age where you sleep for 12 hours at a time.
you do that now. There's no age for that. It's just you.
Oh, yeah.
you're
Either way.
like, that's just one of your favorite pastimes.
Yeah, I do love a sleep.
Yeah. You're like, I'm at the age where I wanted to have 14 hours sleep. I'm like, you're always at that age. What age does that stop? You're like, I refuse to apologize for that.
And she like put the news on in my room, on my telly in my room, my old portable colour telly. Because
Oh,
we didn't
wow.
have flat screens back then. This thing was.
Yeah, man, let's not remind ourselves of how old we are.
And
Oh,
sitting on
just a sidetrack. Do you remember earlier when I put that music on?
oh, don't.
What did they say? It was
Vintage vibes.
vintage vibes, and it was not music from the 90s, rock music from the 90s. I was like, I grew up listening to some of that stuff. You probably listened to some.
That was my teen. That was my formative years. I was
Yeah.
just in 90s rock music. I mean,
Yeah.
I
And
listened to
friggin'
this-
Nirvana came on,
and
didn't
the
it?
first song was the Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit, and it's like, well, this isn't vintage.
Yeah.
This is yesterday for me. Oh, it's not yesterday though, is it? It's 20
The other
years
week,
ago.
when
It's
I was-
over 20 years
The
ago.
other week I was playing some 80s rock, and you were like, oh, yeah. And I was like, you know what? I searched for this, like classic rock. And you were like, what?
It was AC/DC.
yeah.
It was like, oh, Oh man.
Yeah, that
what?
kind of shit makes you feel old, doesn't it?
It does.
And then I mocked you about it, and then today with the vintage rock, you're like,
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Won't be long before you're classic rock, you little bitch.
And then I realised that by the time that happened, my
It'll just be
ages
classical
will be
music.
just classical music. Oh yeah, you know, Mozart, Beethoven, Motorhead.
Oh man. Oh. Yeah, go on, man. Your little coloured portable TV.
Well, and she sat there and we watched the news
Did it have a
report.
cassette thing as well?
No. I didn't have a VHS player.
Oh no.
The VHS player VHS player TV combos weren't great.
No.
Nah. I did have a VHS
My
player. in my
sister
room.
had one of them actually.
Yeah, they break a
And
lot.
then they made a DVD one as well, didn't they?
They did, and also they broke a lot too.
Shit.
Mm.
If there's anyone like born after like the 2000s, listen to this, they're like, what the fuck are they going on about?
Yeah. VHS.
Yeah.
I had a top-loading video player.
Oh, did
It
you?
was
really?
the old one from downstairs. It
Oh,
wasn't even
wow.
a front loader.
Wow.
You know what? That thing worked. I shit you not for 25 fucking years.
Well, that's the thing. isn't it?
25 years we had that fucking video player.
That's the thing is, yeah, technology back then was shit, but it lasted forever.
Yeah.
I remember I had a little shitty TV, kind of like yours, portable one, and it broke. And my uncle was buying himself a new TV, and he was like, "Do you want my old TV?" And I was like, "Yeah." And it was like this 21-inch freaking box,
Oh god.
and it
we're-
lasted me like 5 years.
but we're
He'd
not
had
talking-
it 10.
We're not talking a box. We're
Yeah.
talking a fucking crate.
Yeah, that's what
I
it
mean,
was.
It's like, oh, it's a flat screen. Yeah,
Yeah.
but the back of it's 3 foot.
Yeah, well, that thing lasted me 5 years. Lasted him 10. I don't even know if he bought it brand new. He probably had it second hand
Yeah.
off someone else.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, carry on then.
But anyway, yeah, sorry about that 90s nostalgia. Diana,
Yeah, we're
obviously the people's princess,
Yeah.
allegedly.
She was there because everyone loved
Yeah,
her.
everyone loved Diana.
I mean, like I said, I was really young, but all the interviews I see of her, all the charity work and stuff, she just seemed like a very down to earth, kind person that wanted to help everyone.
yeah.
That's how everyone felt about her.
She also knew how to work the press.
Yeah, manage them, I'd say.
But, you know, she knew that her best angle was to be photographed from.
Yeah,
Because she did
she
have a
knew
bit.
how to answer their
She
questions.
knew how
as
to
well.
answer them. She knew this little look where she'd look down and look up at a certain angle, and it was like her look.
Yeah,
That was when to get the best photo of her. So she knew how to manipulate them, but the problem was when she had kids,
yeah.
and all they were doing was taking pictures of the kids.
That's when you get a bit irritated.
That's when she's like, you know what? These people are like an unwelcome intrusion in my life now.
yeah,
And she started to shield them from the press.
yeah,
And obviously, as the marriage broke down, she sought solace in other men's arms, the same as Charles sought solace in Camilla's.
yeah. Wasn't he meant to be banging Camilla while he was still with her?
Oh, yeah, they both had affairs.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there was no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I think they were the first royal couple to get divorced as well,
Yeah,
which is a huge scandal.
yeah.
I mean, no one in all these, this is Henry VIII. Anyone's getting divorced.
Yeah, it never really happened. Well, the last time it happened probably was Henry VIII.
Yeah. What a dude.
Yeah, that guy was literally, he was like, say what you will about him, but he was a man before his time. He was like, I want a new wife. Oh, sorry, sir, you can't do that. If you do that, basically, it would be against our religion.
No,
Let's change the religion.
I need a son.
Yeah, let's change the religion then.
Change
Fuck
the
it.
religion.
Yeah,
We'll cut ties with the Pope. We'll ostracize ourselves completely. But we'll go about this by being absolutely badass and having a codpiece I can hide 2 cavalry regiments
Yeah.
inside.
he literally just did what he wanted, didn't he? No one could tell him no.
Hmm?
Yeah, obviously he wasn't great to his wives and all that. But
No.
in terms of doing whatever he wanted,
Let's not appear to be too patriarchal in the
Yeah.
terms of like, all that apparently one baroness said that men should all have a curfew at 6 p.m.
oh yeah, I saw that.
It was taken out of context, admittedly, but
I think,
apparently we're all rapists.
I think she was saying that to kind of invoke some sort of feeling among men, so they understood that women after 6 p.m. are afraid of the darkness. They're
That's
afraid.
the one place that she's not going to get a response.
I don't think she meant it literally. I think she.
No, she didn't mean it literally. I'm aware
No.
of that. It was an example of like, you know what? Just briefly, I wasn't aware that like just walking down the street behind a woman on her own, it's like it can be quite nerve wracking for.
Oh yeah, they're scared. They're scared.
wasn't aware of that.
They're on edge all the time.
So I've made a mental things. I'm going to cross the road now, if it's possible.
Well, see, I've always,
I'm crossing the road.
I
It's
grew up.
okay.
I grew up with a lot of women, so obviously I know all these things because I've been told all these things. But my attitude was when I was growing up is there's not really a win for guys because like you go in somewhere, so you can't just stand still. But you can't if you try and speed up to walk around them, then they get nervous. If you stay slow and you just trudge along, then they think you're following them. So you can't win either way. If you try crossing the road, then that's not always an option. Like if you're in like an alleyway or something, you're like, well, I can't speed up because she's going to get nervous. I can't run past her because she's going to think I'm chasing her. I can't walk slower because she's going to think I'm stalking her. And there's nowhere to cross. So what do? You can't just stand still.
No, what you do is you say, I'm not going to rape you.
That's obviously not an option either because she was like, well, I didn't think that, but now I do. So,
well, my plan.
You're just going to announce it to the world. Don't worry. Fear not.
Fear not. I'm going to say this as loudly as possible and wake as many people up as possible. I'm not going to rape anybody. I just want to go home.
I've what I tend to do, which I don't know if it helps at all, is I tend to make my presence known. So like I'll put my phone on and play music and stuff, and just go on my phone I'll look like I'm playing a game on my phone while my music's blasting. Because if they think you're distracted, then you're not focused on them. And also there's noise then. So then when they look around, they're like, oh, okay, so I know he's there. I know how far away he is. And also it looks like he's preoccupied on his phone, so he's not preoccupied on me.
Then she turns around and shanks you.
Yeah, because I'm not looking. I'm like, she stabbed me in the neck.
Oh, no, I wish I had been on my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, isn't it? There's not a win for men really, because we are the enemy with the bad guys. Well, we're not all of us, but enough of us to fear us. So we can't really win. All we can do is try and not make them feel uncomfortable. If there is the option to cross.
Yeah, or announce loudly that you mean them no harm.
Yeah. I mean, I remember a couple of weeks back when I was at Emma's, I was like walking home and I decided because it was cold that I'd jog back. And I started jogging back and there was a couple and they must have, I don't know, maybe they were playing Pokemon Go or something, but they were out late on their phones doing something. And I was behind them and they were just chatting away. And I thought, I'll put my music on so that they know I'm there. And I was jogging anyway. And I put my music on and they heard it and they must not have known I was jogging. And she literally turned and saw me and she freaked out because I was literally running past them. And she freaked out so much, she nearly jumped into the guy and he took him over and he went, whoa, what are you doing? Because obviously he was like, why is she jumping into me? And that's because women are always on edge. And he didn't understand that because he's probably never been on edge. And, I can understand what they're saying, but at the same time is like, nighttime's a scary place.
Yeah.
Like
there's demons and all sorts.
I'm a pretty big dude and I'm running because I want to get home because it's safe.
Hey, Diana. Let's go back to Diana.
Yeah.
So obviously the car crash in the tunnel in Paris.
Yeah.
Shocked the entire world. It sent ripples to the royal family. They didn't know how to deal with it because they'd ostracized her so much.
Yeah.
Made them look the bad guys, and the conspiracy theories.
Made the press. I mean, I don't know why there wasn't more legal action on the press.
I know.
Really. More you would have thought. I get there's freedom of the press, but not only did the paparazzi take photos of her while she was dying, they didn't call for help for 10 minutes almost?
Oh, something like that. Yeah, it was... it was ridiculous. I mean, you have 8 minutes. Obviously, it's the 8-minute thing. It's an ambulance will be with you in no later than 8 minutes. And
how they didn't sue, how the royal family and how other just people didn't just sue the press
because they never found out who did it.
It was in France that she died.
Yeah, but it was paparazzi. They never found out. These are freelance photographers.
Yeah,
they don't work for anybody. And the cameras.
But there's ways of finding though, isn't there?
But the cameras in the tunnel weren't.
There's ways of finding it though, isn't there? Because they sell their photos to companies, and then those companies can choose them whether or not they put those photos out. So they knew who the paparazzi were, and they covered for them because they know they're good at what they do for finding photos, and they need future photos.
Some news agencies did put those pictures out of a dying Diana in the back of a car, which was, let's face it, if you're taking pictures of somebody
There's something wrong with you.
dying in the back of a car and you're not calling an ambulance, you're a fucking sociopath.
Oh yeah, I think pretty much everyone that's a paparazzi has to be a sociopath. Yeah. But the fact that those news outlets weren't held accountable, and the fact that they weren't then held accountable, and then they sold out the paparazzi that took those photos, tells you basically that there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Because really, they shouldn't have got away with that.
No, they shouldn't.
If that news outlet said, you know what, we're going to run with this photo, straight away they should have been sued. Companies should have been massively sued, because it's like you can't put photos out of a person that's now died.
Yeah,
you know, when it's your partly, your maybe not your company, but the people that work with your company are partly responsible for it, and they ran with it. And most of them, I don't know if everyone got away with it, but mostly unpunished, and that's shocking.
It is.
It's sad, really.
I mean, and then of course you got obviously the conspiracy theories about whether
if it was
she was bumped off by the monarchy.
The monarchy bumped her
off. Were
these
actually MI6 agents on the bikes posing as paparazzi?
Yeah.
The car itself was a cut and shut job.
There was a conspiracy on the driver.
The driver was apparently drunk and on drugs, but drunk and on prescription drugs. But nothing was found in his bloodstream.
Yeah.
And there was a whole host. I mean, everything from where the ambulance takes 45 minutes to get to the hospital, but that's just the way the French do it. They stabilize you in the ambulance.
Yeah.
Because they don't have paramedics. They just have doctors in an ambulance.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, we can operate on you in the ambulance should we have to.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just the way they do it.
I think there's the reason,
but there's a whole host of conspiracy theories.
I think the reason why there's so many conspiracy theories is because she lived such a different life.
She lived a middle finger life.
Yeah, she was almost
most
uncontrollable, wasn't she? She kind of, her life was kind of, she did what she wanted. I mean, there's a whole slew of men she apparently slept with, like professional athletes, and you know.
When she died, she was with Dodi Fayed, wasn't he? A son of the guy that owns Harrods, or did own Harrods, Mohammed Fayed.
Yeah.
An Egyptian guy, Egyptian Muslim.
Yeah.
And they were apparently going to get married. Well, that would have been completely unacceptable to the old school firm, the institution of the royal family. The future King of England, William, the head, the defender of the faith, one of his titles, head of the Church of England, he's going to have a Muslim stepdad.
Yeah.
Now, for me,
that wouldn't look good, would it?
I don't think they'd accept that.
No.
I really don't.
And that's enough. That is,
and I think that would have been enough
to say, that's not good.
If there's one, everyone who won about her lifestyle.
Survive?
No, he died too. He died instantly on the crash.
Wow.
If there was one thing you said to me, give me a reason why they would want to kill Diana, I would give you that reason.
Yeah. Yeah. I would be willing to believe that conspiracy theory, to be fair.
Not just for her lifestyle or anything, there's that reason.
I think they tolerated her lifestyle because they even though she had this sort of scandals and stuff, and she did what she wanted, and she slept with who she wanted to sleep with, and she wasn't she didn't toe the line, she still was loved by the people.
Yeah.
And that was enough to go, you know what, let's keep her around, because she gives us a good sort of press, a good face.
That's it.
You know, we can overlook the fact that she's apparently slept with this person and that person and that person, and that's not very royalty-like. And one of her sons doesn't look
it's exactly royalty-like.
And one of her sons
looks like one of her potential lovers.
Yes. But
we'll talk about that
we'll overlook that because overall people fucking love her. The press loves her. The people are like, you know, she's one of us. She's, you know, she went to so many charity things and stuff. But yeah, that's probably where they drew the line, isn't it? Yeah. And it was a much more racist time back then.
It was 1997.
Yeah. I mean, I'm quite lucky that I grew up in like the 2010s, which is when things started to really change, in my opinion. But back then, it was still quite bad. I mean, you grew up in then, you saw that. The 90s. Yeah. I mean, obviously,
we still used to refer to takeaways and shops by the nationalities of people that own them.
Yeah. Which obviously is not politically correct at
all.
Oh,
God, no. Couldn't say that.
But you still see some old people say that, and they're like, oh, that's just what we used to say when we were younger. And it's just like, yeah, but things have changed now.
Yeah.
Things have changed. And they're like, oh, yeah, but we've done it for 40 years. It's like, yeah, I know, but things have changed. So change with the world or get left behind.
That's it. I just want to go briefly back in time to 1969.
I feel like there needed to be a sound effect then. Woo! Time machine.
There was a royal documentary made,
Oh yeah.
and basically it was at home with them.
Yeah.
So they
With-
filmed home with the royals, the
Yeah.
Queen, Prince Philip, the kids, Charles, Margaret, not Margaret, Charles, Anne, Andrew, possibly King
Yeah.
Nonce.
The king of the nonces.
And they filmed this documentary, and it was like a bit. They filmed over 100 hours, over hundreds of hours of this.
Wow.
Like them just like sitting around watching telly themselves, having breakfast, and they made it into this documentary.
Yeah.
It was only ever aired once,
Yeah.
and then it was taken off and just basically removed.
Why?
Never shown again. It was an order from Windsor.
Embarrassing.
Don't show it again.
Embarrassing. Didn't show them in a good light.
It was massively popular at 37 million viewers. It actually increased the public's tolerance for the royal family.
Why then?
I don't know. No one seems to know. Maybe it showed them as being too ordinary. Maybe it showed them as not being these. Because remember, their job
Yeah.
is to exemplify what is best about the national spirit.
Yeah.
That's why the royal family stayed in London during the Blitz. You're taking it, we can take it too.
Even though
Never
they're in a
mind that they were
giant
cheated
building.
about it.
They're in a giant
They're
building.
in a giant building with cellars and a basement. Doesn't matter. We're taking it. And it's like you're supposed to exemplify what the bulldog spirit, the British spirit. You are the guardians of that.
Guardians of the galaxy.
Guardians of the British family unit.
Yeah.
So a divorce or show them as being anything like normal, like a normal family, maybe took that mythos away.
Yeah, I that's probably why they took it down, to be fair. I remember hearing something about is it Kate Middleton?
Yeah.
She had her baby and like within a few hours she was out like for a photo shoot and with the press
Oh, they
and
always
stuff.
do, yeah. They've been
And
the baby out. Yeah, look, here's
And if you-
the because he was a boy as well, wasn't
Yeah.
it? Was it Charles?
I don't know. I
can't remember.
But
George, it's George.
All I know
Yeah.
is because I know a little bit about biology, is women are not okay to be stood around holding a baby and showing off and taking photo shoots. The last thing they want to be doing after they've just
Yeah.
had a baby is that they want to be lying down and resting and recuperate. That's a stressful time for the human body.
She's basically just popped a 6 to 8 pound melon out of her vagina.
Yeah.
She's wrecked down
Yeah,
there.
and
She
she-
does not want to be standing up.
No, she should be resting, but you have to be seen to be nobility better than the
Of course,
rest of
better than the
society.
plebs.
Yeah.
And she's middle class too, Kate. She's not up there, is she?
No.
All right then. Let's talk about
All right, then.
all right then. Let's talk about Andy the Nonce.
Yeah.
Prince Andrew. Duke of
We already
York.
covered him a little bit, didn't we?
We did,
before?
yeah. So we won't go into. Check out our Epstein episode.
Yeah, if you want to hear more about him.
Um,
Proper sketchy dude.
I watched that. I watched the highlights of the interview again today.
Did you? Just to
Yeah.
kind of refresh.
Oh, it's a train wreck.
Or I have a condition where I don't really
Oh.
sweat.
I don't sweat. It's PTSD. I don't sweat. And you're like,
No, he didn't sweat. He does now.
oh, right, he
doesn't
does now. And I was like, but we only had that heat wave last year. It was
Yeah.
30 degrees. I was laying in bed.
Mm.
I had the fan on. I was laying on top of the bed, naked, sweating.
He's painting a picture for
There's
everyone.
an image for you, listeners. Just ripped body, just glistening with sweat. Just lay there,
Oiled up.
oiled up,
Oh.
and he's like, "Oh man, I wish I was Prince Andrew. not for the nonsense, just the fact he doesn't sweat.
Yeah.
I wish I was Prince Andrew right now.
That's such a bad lie. Like, oh yeah, I have a rare condition where I don't sweat. Oh yeah, but you look like you're sweating now, Andrew. during this
You
interview.
look like you're sweating a lot.
Oh yeah, it's a condition I had in my youth. I'm fine.
He got
now.
him, I mean, he went to the Falklands War, and he flew helicopters into combat and all that.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
He said
but-
his PTSD caused him not to sweat.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
never heard of that one.
it's
I
like,
must
mate,
admit.
I don't think that's ever happened to anyone. It's like, I mean, we've been watching Band of Brothers, haven't we?
Oh god,
And
yeah,
the
it's awesome.
PTSD that they're experiencing while they're fighting is insane. But none of them has gone, you know what, mate? I suddenly stopped sweating yesterday.
Yeah.
It's like,
Hey, look at this. You guys sweating?
it's like
I'm not. No,
the
no,
body
mate.
the body would do a lot of things to make sure that you survive, but one thing it wouldn't do is stop sweating, because sweating actually helps with survival.
Yeah,
It's like,
you're releasing body heat, and
Yeah.
for a start, aren't you?
yeah,
That's why you sweat. You're releasing body heat. Your skin really goes, oh shit, we need to Need to release some moisture here. We're over the top.
So I'm
you
not.
know more about it than me. I'm just.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to proclaim to be, and I'm not going to say that I'm his doctor, but I'm going to call bullshit. I mean, I don't have the evidence to prove it, but it sounds like a lie because I've never met anyone that has said, you know what? I mean, if he had a condition, if he was born with a condition where the sweat glands don't work properly, I could believe that. But the fact that he said it was from some PTSD, and then during that interview when he's talking about it, and they're like, "What about this photo?" He's like, "Oh," like proper stumbling.
Oh, that's a fake.
He looks pretty sweaty to me.
That's fake.
Yeah,
No, it's clearly photo. Like, this is a photo. Here you are. You clearly got sweat stains on your arms.
Yeah.
I'm not a party prince either. I'm not
Yeah.
a party prince. Here's a photo of you partying.
Yeah.
Here's another photo of you partying. Here's some more photos of you. Here's a whole batch.
Yeah.
A batch is a fuckload.
Yeah.
In this scenario.
I pride myself on being able to read people's body language really well, and that guy is like mumbling. He's tripping himself up in conversation. He's looking around the room.
Yeah.
He looks nervous. He can't keep his sentences together. It's like, you're full of shit.
Whoever
So we have
told him to
photographic evidence. I don't know where you got that photo from.
Whoever told him to do that interview and prepped him for it.
It was like a
I hope they never work
train
again.
crash, wasn't it?
Oh, it was just.
It's
nuts.
like nobody.
It was nuts. It was crazy.
You would have thought someone would have sat him down and been like, right, these are the likely questions. We need to make sure we have short, sharp answers to these questions. But it wasn't. He went into depth, and it's like he would almost make like he made.
I was at a Pizza Express in Woking that night.
Yeah, it's like,
oh no, you weren't. Not a single member of the royal family has ever been to a Pizza Express in Woking.
It's like, what were you doing in Woking? It's like, oh yeah, I was going there for a party for my daughter's friend. It was like a birthday party, wasn't it? It's like, okay, can you have anyone to collaborate that? Because surely there would have been guests. You're quite famous. Your nobility. So the people that would be there,
fifth in line to the throne at this point, something like that.
So the kids your daughter probably hung out with were probably quite noble. So you probably wouldn't be going to a Pizza Express for their birthday. I'm guessing she didn't go to public school. And if they did go to Pizza Express, it's like, surely you'd know the people, or they'd be able to come forward and collaborate your story.
Surely be some fucking CCTV.
Yeah.
Or the 90s, for God's sake. I mean, come on, the CCTV. I mean, all right, the quality may not be amazing.
Yeah.
But we should surely identify him.
I don't know about you, but a lot of working class people as well, when they're managers and something, they're usually managers for 20, 30 years. So the manager of Pizza Express probably still works there today. Or assistant manager who's now the manager.
Let's not forget that, there's various eyewitnesses. And wouldn't the security personnel have shown up on tape?
Yeah.
I mean, Andy's there. He's fifth in line to the throne or something like that at this point. He goes to a Pizza Express and your common. I mean, I doubt they closed the entire restaurant for her.
Yeah.
Maybe they did. I don't know. But still.
But then somebody would have came out. Pizza Express.
The security people stood outside the fucking. No, you can't come in. Sorry.
Pizza Express would have come out and said, "Yeah, I collaborate that." The prince shut it down. Nothing.
No.
Even his own daughter, I don't think, came out and collaborated.
No one came out and said anything about it.
Nobody.
It's like, this is just a lie. Where's your daughter on this, Andy?
Yeah.
You were banging kids.
It's like, mate, we have eyewitnesses that says you were there. She said you were there. We have photographic evidence.
At Epstein's mansion.
Yeah. And at the club as well.
At the club, yeah.
So we have witnesses at the club. We have the girl that says that you were there and dancing up on her and sweating. There's a photo of you in Epstein's house. Epstein said you were there. What's her name?
Gazelle.
Gazelle said you were there. It's like, you're the only one that says you're not there, but there's a photograph of you stood in the door frame of a bedroom with this young girl, and literally that Maxwell woman said you went in there after the photo. So it's and your answer to it is, oh, I don't know when that was taken. No,
that was fake.
I don't know who she was. That's fake. Oh, I have no idea who that woman is. It's like, mate, bullshit.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit. It doesn't add up. None of your story adds up.
And when Epstein had been convicted, he was like, no. I went there because I'm too honourable. I didn't want to do it over the phone.
Yeah.
I didn't want to break the friendship up over the phone. I'm too honourable.
Yeah.
That's a fault of mine.
Yeah.
So fuck you, peasants.
It's like,
I'm too honourable. I'm a prince, don't you know?
Yeah.
And I went there in person, but I stayed there for 4 days, and we had a big dinner to celebrate him getting out. And he's like, oh, they were like, oh, was it like a big dinner, a small dinner? Oh, it was like 4 or 5 people. It was a fucking banquet, mate. There was like 3 massive tables.
Yeah, it's all lies.
You're full of shit.
It's like, mate, I've had friends all throughout my life, and if I found out any of them were a paedophile, I wouldn't even bother calling them. I wouldn't pick up the phone to be like, oh my God, I can't believe this about you.
Yeah,
the evidence is overwhelming, so we can't be mates anymore, let alone flying over and hanging out with him. Just wouldn't speak to the person ever again.
You've had friends all your life.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Oh man, I don't believe that for a second.
Unfortunately for them. I said all throughout my life.
Oh, all throughout.
Different friends at different times.
Okay.
So I've met people from all walks of life. Thankfully, none of them, as I know, were paedophiles. But if I found out one of them was, wouldn't bother calling them to be like, you know what, mate, we can't be friends anymore. Wouldn't communicate with them.
No,
I mean, like, sorry, hey, the evidence is overwhelming. We can't be friends anymore.
Yeah, sorry, mate. You fucked underage girls.
Let alone go in there for 4 days and be like, oh, well, you know what? I had to tell him, and because it was just so...
And then I staged for his fucking banquet.
It was so mentally and emotionally exhausting. I decided I needed the retreat for 4 days.
Yeah. And then I staged for his banquet.
Yeah. I stayed for 4 days for a party banquet where there was probably kids. Jesus Christ.
Now, apparently, the Meghan and Harry scandal, which we'll get on to next.
Yeah.
Before I do, I'll make this swift point.
It's got to be swift then.
It's very
swift as lightning.
It's going to be swifter than a rolled up piece of paper dipped in lemon juice and jabbed into your eye.
That was very specific.
Yeah,
like you've thought about doing it.
There you go, swift.
Take that, you bitch.
It was on the front of the British press.
Yeah.
The biggest royal scandal in 85 years.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's like, wait, Andy being a nonce was 85 years ago. Hey?
No, it's because it wasn't a big story because it didn't happen. According to them, it didn't happen.
And this is the ridiculous. Let's move on to Meghan and Harry, and I'll explain my disbelief. Whatever they want to say, right?
Yeah.
They can say whatever they want to say. If that's an honest interview, I applaud them. If it's a dishonest interview, then I think they're terrible. But
I think we need to dissect this into parts.
Let's not overrule the fact that everyone on a certain percentage of the British people who will not have a word said against the royal family, and want the execution of Harry and Meghan, post haste, are overlooking the fact there is a massive paedophile in the royal family that they don't seem to be bothered about.
Yeah. They should be.
Yeah. And the Queen's cousin was arrested the other week for raping a girl in one of the palaces.
Oh, wow.
Right? Now,
why isn't that the biggest scandal?
Yeah, it was mentioned in the press.
Should come out in the press and be like, wait, we were wrong. New biggest scandal in 85 years.
He was sentenced and jailed.
Nothing said about it.
But it had like a few inches of tabloid news.
Yeah, but they're greasing the elbows. Harry said, if you grease in the wheels, so to speak, I don't know what the saying is. If you grease in the wheels, we'll say, of the press, then they don't say anything bad about you.
Give them more access. The more access you give them, the nicer they are to you.
Which is probably why Andrew did that thing.
Yeah, it didn't work, though, did it?
No, it didn't.
It really backfired. Even the media couldn't defend him from that interview.
That woman that interviewed him, you could tell she was
in disbelief.
She wanted the truth, but at the same time, she was almost like embarrassed to have to interview him. So she was like, the questions were almost like, well, okay, but there's a picture of you with her? And he was like, oh, and she's like, but you do realize how ridiculous that sounds because that's you. And she was just like, oh, and she was like, yeah, but evidence, and you can't really...
That wasn't me. I was in Woking at Pizza Express.
And she was just like, okay, well then prove that. Oh, I can't. It was years ago. But we can prove that you weren't. We have eyewitnesses. We have photographs.
So why did you stay at the house of a convicted paedophile and sex trafficker?
I'm honourable.
It was he genuinely said, Sean, it was a convenient place to stay. You're like, mate, You've got a royal family black credit card.
Yeah.
It's Onyx. It's like the best credit card anyone can have.
Go, mate, sorry, you're a paedophile.
Written on it. I'll stay at the fucking Ritz.
Yeah. Sorry, mate, you're a paedophile. See you, I'm going to the Ritz.
Yeah.
That's
I'll
it.
stay at the best hotel in New York. but I probably shouldn't be staying with you for 4 fucking days.
You don't even need to go in the house. You could do that at the doorway.
Yeah.
Look, mate, we can't be mates anymore. Go fuck yourself. I'm going to go stay at the hotel down
you're
the road.
a pedo. I'm disgusted by your behaviour, and I was ever associated with you.
Yeah.
I came here to say it in person. Now I'm off to the best hotel in New York
I'm
to
sorry.
bang a high-class escort who's of legal age.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but just to go on a little bit of a tangent, but if you were friends with someone for that long, when people are that close, it is very, very hard not to know that that's going on.
Yeah.
Very hard, because literally you start being a part of someone's life, you're like best mates or something. Things accidentally slip out. You accidentally reveal things that you shouldn't reveal about your life.
Or you stumble upon it.
Yeah, or you stumble upon it. So there's no way.
Hey, Jeffrey, why are the 12-year-olds chained up in your rec room?
Fucking hell. There's no way he didn't know. So he's not exempt, even if he didn't do anything. He's not exempt because he knew.
Yeah.
There's no way you couldn't. Know.
Everyone who went there knew.
Yeah. That was Chloe kicking
Chloe
the table.
kicking the table.
Yeah.
Everyone who went there knew. Everyone who went to that island knew.
Yeah. Yeah. It's bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
Yeah. So
Well,
I think Harry.
Yeah.
In this scenario.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to bring. I'm going to look at this from Harry's point of view first.
I
Harry
think
and
we
Meghan.
need to dissect this into sections.
Right.
So first, I think we need to dissect it in how the press has handled it, how it's
Okay,
handled it, and
yeah.
how it handled her.
I think there's an element of racism. It's my
Yeah.
opinion.
That's why I said we'll dissect it.
yeah.
Because, you mentioned
In
that
the
earlier.
press, I think there is. I think that stuff Kate did, like cradling her baby bump, was like,
Yeah.
oh, look at Kate cradling
You
her baby
sent
bump.
me a load of pictures
Yeah.
where it was side
It's
by
side
side
by
with the
side.
press.
Oh, look at her. It's possessive. Look at Meghan. She's possessing that baby.
She's obsessed.
She's obsessed.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's the same picture.
Yeah.
And I do think there was an element of racism from the British right-wing
Yeah.
press.
Yeah.
Most of the British press is right-wing, in all fairness.
Yeah.
But I do genuinely think that...
Isn't it crazy? Whichever political sort of squad will say is
You
in
know what?
charge.
I'm not one of these people who shouts racism at everything.
No.
You know that.
Yeah.
But I do genuinely think that
Yeah.
some of this was because she is mixed race.
Yeah.
And she's marrying into that
Yeah.
pure bloodline
That's
establishment.
German.
Kate was tolerated because she's middle class and
And
kind
she
of,
towed the line.
and she told the line. And he met her through uni. It's his childhood sweetheart. Oh, that's good PR.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's his childhood sweetheart. That's good PR. Harry, he's the spare. He goes out. He parties. Yes, he wears a Nazi uniform at a party.
Yeah.
It was an embarrassment. But he went on to serve for the forces in
It
Afghanistan
was a
twice.
party, wasn't it?
You know, it was a colonial party. That was the theme of the dress. Yeah, he shouldn't have worn the Nazi uniform. That
He
was
probably shouldn't know, but
that
I
was
mean,
completely naive. But then he went
he was
on
a
to go.
kid, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was like 18.
And you could
And
argue
he's
because
not gonna,
you could argue he was just doing it to kind of sort of say "fuck you" because of how badly.
Well, it's like, oh, look at me, I'm a joker. I'm a member of the royal family. I'm wearing. He wasn't planning on those photos being leaked to the press.
I think there was a lot
Those
of
kind
hurt,
of part-
a lot of hurt
Yeah.
feelings with it, how he felt about how his mom was treated from the royal
Oh,
family. So it's almost
well,
like he
let's-
rebelled a little bit.
Let's
and
move
she-
on to that slightly because
Yeah.
this is where I see Harry's point of view coming in.
Yeah.
Because of the press reception about his new wife.
Yeah.
Or new, I do genuinely think that he thought, you know what, my mom was hounded by the press
Yeah.
constantly.
So it's almost like he's brought up painful memories.
Yeah, and it's like, you know what, I don't want to lose my wife.
Yeah.
I know she's depressed. Apparently, she said.
Yeah,
in the
we'll
interview-
go into that
Yeah.
more later.
Apparently, she's feeling suicidal. She's pregnant. I
Yeah.
don't want to lose my unborn child or my wife.
Yeah.
And my mom. This killed my mom
Yeah.
indirectly. This press attention. So I'm just going to go. You know what? I don't want that.
Yeah.
And you don't need me anymore.
Yeah.
You don't need me anymore.
So he took himself out
because
of it.
William's got kids. I'm like, what, 7th in line to the throne now? Let me go and do my own fucking thing.
Yeah. Well, what I was trying to say earlier is, isn't it crazy how whichever political sort of party is usually in control of a country, the press usually match it.
Well,
So,
that's
like,
how they get into power.
yeah, it's like we have like a massive like sort of right wing power in this country, and all of the press is right wing.
Well, that's why Corbyn was demonized as a communist and
It's crazy,
a
isn't it?
socialist and all that.
It's almost like the
So you don't want
politicians.
him; he's a communist.
It's almost like the politicians of the ruling class and the
It's
the
almost
media work together.
it's almost like
in
the
unison.
media actually runs the country, and they pay the politicians
I
to.
think they probably have for a long time.
Mm.
But yeah, my opinions
Sorry,
on
hang on. The media pays the politicians, the press conglomerates,
yeah,
to stay tax free virtually.
yeah, probably. You're probably right.
No, it does. The guy who owns the Mail has all his. It's a British-based company. All his money's abroad.
Oh wow, wow.
But they put out favourable stuff about the government to
So they can get away with
so
it.
they can get away with it.
Wow. But yeah, my opinions on it. I mean, I think you might have a point, to be fair, with the whole race played a part. But I said this to you earlier. I think that it definitely does, because obviously we do have a more right-leaning country, and the press obviously follow that. But at the same time, I can't help but seeing there's sort of the mirror between her and Diane. And obviously, Diana. Sorry, she's obviously white, and they treated her just as badly.
Yes, but I think that the press now, I think, are worse than they were.
I almost feel like the main thing is because she doesn't toe the line. She does what she wants. I think that's. I'm not saying that race doesn't play a factor. I'm just saying that the evidence isn't there for me to say yes. I completely agree with it. But I see what you're saying, and I probably feel that way too. I just can't say yes for definite because there's just no evidence. But she definitely doesn't toe the line, and they don't like that.
Yeah,
and that's why they're quite harsh.
I get that. Americans are quite an independent people.
Yeah,
she knows she's marrying into the firm.
Yeah,
but she's thinking, well, Harry's that far down the line now.
It's not.
It probably doesn't matter what I do.
Yeah.
The problem is it does, because it reflects on the.
Well,
firm,
in the interview, she said she tried to toe the line and stuff.
But I do.
I don't think they like the idea of being an actress and coming from. I mean, I remember hearing something. I didn't have anything. I've never really had anything to do with the royal family. I like history and I like the royal family throughout history. But the past 100 years, I mean, you've done all this research and I knew very little about it. But yeah, it just feels like, from what I remember, a few years back when they first started getting together and getting married and all that, and dating and stuff. I remember the royal family and the press not being happy because of being an actress and having all these sex scenes.
They're thinking of Edward and Mrs. Simpson, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, it's an American.
Yeah.
She's
I remember them actually
already.
being very upset about the nude scenes, and even hearing stuff about them maybe trying to get them removed from like DVD sales and stuff, seeing if they could legally do that.
But that's ridiculous, because you go on the internet and see it if you wanted to.
But
I haven't. But
she stopped being an actress, so clearly they got their own way, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, she's done voice acting work.
Yeah, but she's not really. Yeah. She's not acted, and she's definitely not done nude or sex scenes.
Now, did you know that 70 MPs,
both
Labour and Conservative, complained about, quote, colonial overtones, end quote, in the national press about Meghan?
Wow. What does that mean then?
Means that basically they're saying you're being hard on her because she's black.
Yeah.
Or mixed race.
Conservative people as well.
Conservative and Labour, 70 MPs. Now there's 400 something MPs in the House of Parliament.
The numbers on that is like how many Conservatives?
I don't actually know. I just know it was 70.
Conservatives tend to care less about race, whether or
not.
Yeah,
but they thought that she was being treated unfairly by the press because of her race. Yeah. I genuinely, mate, I know that
it's like a strong feeling.
I do think the establishment in this country is like, oh, you know what? Don't like that. Yeah. We used to, and remember they're like, well, all right, let's slip into colonial Ben for a second.
Yeah,
let's go back 200 years.
Do you have like a little colonial outfit?
I know. I put a pith helmet on and say, you know,
I'm colonial Ben.
I know colonial Ben. And
do you step on like a little sort of tree stump?
I'm riding an elephant.
Oh, you're not on like a tree stump, like posing with one leg up.
That's like American colonial.
Oh, okay.
I'm like in the days of the Raj colonial, the Indian Empire. I'm riding an elephant.
You got like one of those hat things.
Pith helmet.
Okay. Actually, is that what it's called?
I
wondered what it was.
Actually, I wore one to download one.
Did you? Oh, yeah.
Because
that's the photo I used for your Ben's big birthday.
Simple reason. Best sun hat ever invented.
Is it really?
Yeah. Made of cork, so it's light and rain absorbent. It's waterproof, and it is At the front, it's like peaked, so it covers your nose and the shadow, and it covers the back of your neck.
Oh, that's cool.
Best sun hat ever devised.
Alright. That's the embarrassing photo I chose for the
That's
the
fine.
birthday
I
podcast.
love that hat. I love that hat. It's fantastic. By the end of Download Festival, I had Born to Fuck written on it.
Did it really?
It did.
Carl, what are you saying then about? So it's like a strong feeling.
It's a strong feeling I have is that basically the establishment's like, well, at the end of the day, we used to own these fuckers.
Yeah.
So I'm not accepting that.
You think that's still strong?
I
even
do,
today?
yeah. I think within the British 1%, the ruling class, I think, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, see,
And as we mentioned earlier, a lot of the British aristocracy thought Hitler was all right
yeah.
with his policies towards the poor and disabled.
See, I'm never going to discredit a strong gut feeling because sometimes they're on the money. So, I mean, you've told me this earlier, and part of me does feel that way. You know, she was treated poorly. I mean,
You've seen the side by side.
I've done some research on her and her family, and that's why I wanted to split this up into segments.
Yeah, okay. That
So
is also a massive donor to what I'm saying.
I do have feelings as to what has contributed to this, and this is why we need to do it in segments because I don't want my opinions on what I found about her and her family to coincide with the Piers Morgan stuff that we're going to talk about and the suicide stuff, because that's obviously serious and should always be taken seriously. But yeah, I do think that maybe you're right, but you know what I'm like. I need some sort of evidence or
but
proof.
they'll never admit to it.
No, they won't.
No, of course. We have the Commonwealth. It's made up of peoples of all colours, races, and creeds.
Yeah.
So we'll never be racist because if we were, then that would fall apart.
Yeah.
But it's fine when you're our subjects.
Yeah.
But not when you're in our family.
Yeah, and maybe you have a point. I think I would go along with your argument on the press. I would be more inclined to throw my chips in and agree with you on the press that there are racial. There are a lot of them are right wing, and as you know, I flip between the two, right and left, depending on political sort of spectrum. But with that, I would agree with you. I think that they are right wing, and they want to invoke people that maybe think the same way as what you've just said, that race should matter, and they're not happy with it.
This is the royal family.
Yeah,
they should be pure.
White. They should be
pure.
They should
German.
They should all be interbred.
Sure, mate.
Yeah,
that's a podcast.
That's another one, isn't it?
Inbred families of Europe. Oh,
that's basically what it is, though, isn't it? Let's be honest. And she's American, and she's not like
she's not in the line.
Related to him at all.
Well, she might be related because the Queen and Obama are related somehow.
Yeah, everyone's like some
cousins,
16 cousins or something.
All presidents of the United States are related to the Queen. How the fuck does that work?
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
That's another podcast.
On the royal family side, from what the interview I watched with Harry, and I mean, he didn't speak a lot, but when he did speak, he basically said, look, you know, some of that happened and we dealt with it. So that means there is racism within the family. Yeah. But he kind of heavily implied afterwards that the immediate sort of his brother, his grandmother aren't racist. So,
granddad.
Yeah.
Even though Philip's been racist for years.
Yeah, sort of like.
Which I'm surprised they didn't say. Do you ever remember any of Prince Philip's quotes?
No.
I always remember the one where he looked at an electrical box. He was on some tour or some factory. Like, that looks like shoddy Indian work to me.
Really? No, he just focused on his grandmother, the Queen, and he focused on his brother and his sister-in-law.
I think they all respect the Queen.
Yeah.
And I think you have to respect the Queen. I respect her.
I think
she's 90 odd years old.
Yeah.
She's given her life to the country. And I do respect her.
Yeah.
It's just I don't think she should be in her position.
No, I think
for what she's done.
Yeah.
The ambassadorship that she's had, which she's the figurehead of the country.
I honestly think
I respect it.
Yeah, I honestly think, and I think we'll obviously say our conclusions at the end, but after her, it should end.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, I don't think that the royal family should exist anymore, but I mean, everyone does like her. She is a pretty, for a monarch, as far as monarchs go, she's fairly loved. She's fairly down to earth. It's for a really rich, powerful woman. She is fairly down to earth, and I don't see her being hateful and racist. And
no, I don't see her being racist.
Apparently, her and Meghan actually had quite a good relationship.
Yeah.
So, but is the racism within the family? Undoubtedly, because there's rich old people in there.
Of course.
So there's always, I said it earlier too, there's always that racist uncle, isn't there?
Of course.
There's always someone in the family that...
Except you, your granddad this time.
Yeah. And it probably is Philip, like you said, but he said his brother and stuff, and I believe what he says. And Prince William came out and he said, we're going to deal with that internally within the family.
But should it? Yeah, it should be dealt with internally.
Yeah, it should be. It shouldn't be on the news, really. It's
No.
a family issue.
Yeah.
If one member of family said something awful, that should be dealt with. And William's a perfect person to deal with it, because if it continues, the monarchy does, he'll be in charge. So he should have to.
I think he needs to step up a little bit.
Yeah, he needs to say, look, guys, this is a new generation.
He's kind of moved back from this.
He needs to step forward.
Whereas I think that it shouldn't be his dad and the Queen dealing with it. It's like, I'm going to deal with this. He's my brother.
Yeah.
And apparently they don't have the best of relationships now. But it's surely Williams.
They've got a strong
king,
bond,
therefore,
but they fall out a lot.
He's a diplomat.
Yeah.
He's got to be a diplomat, so he needs to sort of reach out and say, look.
Yeah, he should either be
you
going...
need to, what can... Like, help me then. What can I do to make this better?
Yeah, he should either be going, look, this needs to fizzle out now. We need to stop with the monarchy and step back. Or he needs to step into it and be like, look, if I'm going to be the king, some things need to change. We need to be a better family. We need to treat each other equally. We need everything to not present sort of this thing where we have to live this strict, sort of rigid way. Yeah. If somebody wants to date a person that's the same gender as them, let them. Yeah. Oh, if they want to do this,
let's not bump them off in a plane crash.
Yeah. Wait, I proved what happened in that plane crash.
Hey,
he went out in style.
Just saying that
it's a possibility.
It's a possibility he was bumped off.
I prefer that he went out in style.
No, and so do I.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that maybe it's a possibility. I hope he had a 12-man gangbang on that fucking plane while he was off his tits on coke and opium. It would be fucking amazing. And I'd go out that way if that option was there.
I like to think he's lying back, he's high as fuck, he's getting a blowjob, and someone says, oh shit, we're about to hit him out. He's like, it's cool, man, just let it happen.
I'm living my best life.
Yeah, it ain't gonna get much better than this. Let's just go out on a win. Go out on a win.
So it's worth pointing out, though, that Archie,
their
first son, they've got a daughter on the way, is the first person of colour to be born into the royal family.
Which is amazing, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
This is what makes me think that the royal family aren't really that racist as a whole, because they wouldn't have let it get to that point, would they? They would have found a way to stop him from seeing her.
But let's point something out, that their son is not a prince.
That's true.
That's nothing to do with race. That is.
Yeah, she said in the interview.
She claimed it was to do with race. It's not. It's the fact that Harry is no longer, and he's like seventh in line.
Yeah.
He's a Duke of Sussex.
Yeah.
Seventh,
really?
Yeah, seventh.
Wow.
They were awarded those titles on their marriage.
Yeah.
So basically, their son inherits that title. He's an heir to the Duchy of Sussex.
Yeah.
But he's not a prince.
Yeah.
That's just because he's not. Harry is the spare and he's not needed anymore.
Yeah.
So therefore his son doesn't
not
have to be
William
a prince.
Dies tragically.
Well, not unless his entire family dies tragically.
Yeah.
Then yes.
William's got kids.
Yeah. So if his entire family was on the same plane.
Yeah.
And I hope it doesn't.
Yeah.
Then yes, Harry's all of a sudden back in contention.
Yeah.
But no, Harry's well out the running. And they've probably let him go to Afghanistan twice.
Yeah.
And that's why I give him credit. He went through this rebellious stage, and he went, you know what?
The guy is a tough guy. He paid his dues. He went to
He was an Apache pilot, for fuck's sake.
I mean, he wanted to keep fighting, but they had to pull him out, didn't they? Because they were worried that it would affect the rest of his regiment, weren't they?
Well, they were worried that it would make him be a target,
which makes his men a target. And that's the only reason why he agreed to leave, wasn't it? To protect, because he wanted to stay and fight. I mean, they're like brothers, aren't they?
Of course, brothers in arms.
Yeah, didn't want to leave them behind.
A band of brothers.
Yeah, yeah.
So I also want to ask, do you think that, Harry said in that interview that his father hadn't picked up the phone to him.
Yeah.
And that he'd been financially cut off.
Yeah, see, this is my issue now, they're both rich. And
She had an estimated worth of about 3 million.
yeah,
I think Harry's probably worth about 6 to 7 with the money
Yeah.
Diana left him.
and literally in the interview, it kind of, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I mean, I feel sorry for the situation they're in, but when they're two millionaires and he's like, yeah, they've cut me off since 2020. It's like, mate, you're a grown man and you're a millionaire and your mom left you a few million. And he literally says, if it wasn't for the fact that my mom left me money, we'd be screwed. And I was just like, dude, you're a grown man.
But
Make your own money.
But I suspect that that's why they didn't give him any money, because
Yeah.
his mom had left him that money.
Yeah.
If he'd have been, there's no way on earth they'd have let him go out in the world on his own with nothing.
Well, it's like the taxpayer. It's bad enough. And I mean, we'll
the
talk
taxpayer
about,
paid for his wedding.
Yeah.
And they announced that they'd actually got married 3 days earlier.
Yeah. We'll talk about this more at the end. But the taxpayer already funds the royal family. We're not paying for a guy that doesn't even live here.
Yeah.
He's a royal.
And he was on it security.
Yeah.
Which I understand.
Well, give him a
But-
security detail, but don't fucking. If we've got to give him like $1 million a year, he doesn't need $1 million
Well,
a year to
that-
hire a couple of security guards.
No,
does he?
we're not talking about a couple of security guards. We're
Yeah.
talking at least a team of 4 to 8 ex-special forces or ex-special branch
But
operatives.
why? He's given up all his claims. He's moved
Yes.
to America.
But-
he doesn't need it.
Yeah, but he's still a kidnap target.
Yeah, I guess.
His son, his wife, him, they're targets for terrorists. I mean, you want to, let's say, for example, the British, they take Harry and his family hostage,
Yeah.
and they're there with blindfolds on, with knives to their throats, and we're going to cut the head off your prince.
Yeah.
The British government is not going to go, all right,
Yeah.
go for it.
Well then,
They're going to want to.
so, pay
uh,
for a security
But
detail
then that's
for
costing
him.
the taxpayer, which they said they don't want. They don't want to be part of that.
Yeah.
So it throws up an entire conundrum.
Yeah.
But he's still too much of an important person to
Not have.
not have security.
Yeah. It just seems like the whole they've cut me off. It's like a woe is me. You guys
It
are
is,
millionaires.
but it's just like,
Find other ways to make
which
money.
dad did you ring?
Yeah. Yeah, that comes to your next point, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Is Harry Charles's?
Yeah.
I mean, Harry, bless him,
Yeah.
looks a lot like James Hewitt, who was rumoured to be one of Diana's lovers, a
He does.
former British Army
Which
captain,
is probably why. they don't-
aristocrat,
Yeah.
ginger.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that people say that Diana's brother is ginger
Yeah.
and he's redhead. It runs in that funny, but my God, does he look like James Hewitt?
Just like him.
I mean, all right, maybe there's an element of inbreeding
Yeah.
in the aristocratic families of this country.
So that's why they look similar.
Maybe that's why they look similar, but I think that's a long shot, don't
Yeah.
you?
It is. It's because it's not. He's not legitimate, is he? Let's be honest. That's why he's always felt like he's been pushed out a little bit. Is because
Yeah.
they all know it and they want to keep the scandal under wraps. So they
Of course, they want to give him his birthright.
outwardly they make it look like it, but inwardly none of them think that he's legitimate. And I
Yeah.
think he probably.
I think they
knows.
had a DNA test done when he was born.
Yeah.
Because I mean, apparently Charles's first words on seeing Harry was like, "Oh my God, he's ginger,"
Well, yeah. I mean, look at
and
William and
William
fucking
looks like Charles.
They look exactly
Yeah.
the same.
He's even got the same male pattern baldness as Charles had.
Harry's still got almost a full head of hair.
He has got a full head of hair.
And he's a bit thin on the top.
Yeah, but he's still bright red as well.
That's true.
And,
Yeah.
You know, it's.
Yeah.
I think the fact that's annoyed me the most
Yeah.
about all of this, and social media's been blown up. I've trolled a few trolls because I've
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I've been off work.
You're like, I'm going to troll the troll.
I'm going to troll the trolls, and
Yeah.
anyone that's saying, "Oh, it's like, what? So you're okay? Anyone's defend the Queen and saying, "Oh, this is terrible. Don't they know Philip's in hospital?
Yeah.
What? So Andy being a nonce is all right, is it? Sort it out. Give
My-
your head a wobble.
My
'Cause
attitude
He's
is
a fucking nonce.
Yeah.
He needs to be dealt with. This is nothing. This is nothing.
my attitude.
He's a paedophile.
My attitude is that fair enough. It's awful if you felt mistreated and you didn't feel like you fit in there and you moved away. That's fine, but don't moan that you're millionaires and you need money and they've cut you off.
I agree with that. Because
And
it's like you're privileged as fuck. A lot of people. I mean, Harry's done some great stuff for
she's
charity.
an actor. She can go back to work and make money. He can find. I mean, he's probably got businesses. Surely he's
He's
invested
part of the
his
Invictus
money.
Games.
Yeah, he's invested.
which is
money.
great because it was the Olympics for disabled servicemen. That's fantastic.
He's like,
It's
as long as
amazing.
I've got enough money to protect my family. It's like, mate, you've got enough money to protect your family. You'll find it from somewhere. When you're that rich, people will want to pay you
And as you fade
stuff.
into obscurity,
He won't though, will he? I bet you he makes tons of money in the next 10 or 20 years, even if he doesn't.
well,
go
she
back.
will.
He will as well.
Yeah, well, she will as well, but she will too.
He's a prince. People will want to give him money for nothing.
Yeah. I mean, how often is it they pay to eat out, I imagine?
Exactly. He'll bounce back, even if the royal family
absolutely,
don't start bankrolling him again. She can always go back to acting, and he'll find a way to make money. If they wanted to, they could do a Kardashians type thing.
I hate to see
The Royals moved to America.
Oh, the Sussexes moved to America, yeah.
The Americans absolutely
they adore it.
the
They
royal
adore
family.
it. They love it.
Can
They
you
love that shit.
imagine? Could you imagine the TV show?
Why was she interviewed? Well, that's why they were interviewed by Oprah.
Yeah.
And not by, I don't know.
If they made a TV show following their family doing stuff and the drama and stuff, an American woman and an English noble
Prince,
yeah, it would make millions.
An
Millions.
American noble and an English prince
Yeah.
touring the USA.
Yeah. They could even do that. Yeah, it doesn't even
Yeah.
have to be like the Kardashians. They could just tour America.
Yeah.
It'd make millions.
Chloe just looked at me really angry after I sang.
Yeah, she's like, "Don't sing."
Never sing.
They're never going to be.
Present.
They're never going to be strapped to cash, and someone will. Either he'll have the money, or she'll have the money, or the royals will pay for his security. So that's not even a concern.
Oh, no, they're not paying. They are not. And Charles is actually Prince Charles.
Yeah,
has actually streamlined the royal family now because he
Yeah.
realizes that having like your country economically failing,
Yeah.
much the same as George V did.
Yeah.
Having your country economically failing, it doesn't look so good for the royal family when you're living a life of opulence.
It's good that
So
he
in-
streamlined it. They
so
don't
he's
need as much
streamlined-
money
so-
as they had.
So Prince Andrew, the nonce, is King Nonce.
Yeah.
His daughters don't get anything now.
He shouldn't get anything. Either.
Prince Edward doesn't get anything.
Yeah.
Andrew doesn't get anything.
Good.
And Charles in himself is the Duchy of Cornwall, which is his. He's the Duke of Cornwall now.
Yeah.
That's like self-sufficient.
Yeah.
He
Good.
makes enough. He basically that estate
Yeah.
pays for itself.
I,
But he
I,
realizes that in times are tough.
Yeah.
You can't be just going, hey, take this money and land.
I think that if you're going to keep the nobility around and not abolish them, then the only answer really is to make it a business.
Yeah.
You can't have it as they're just freeloaders that we basically support.
But we are paying 400 million quid towards
they're like
the
the
Queen's castles
They're
being
like the richest
refurbished.
Doldosses, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're like the
parasites, mate.
Yeah.
They're fucking
they're
parasites.
literally. That's a bit of a harsh word to say, I guess, but that's what they are. They're like the richest sort of
They made their
benefit
money.
thieves,
Their
essentially.
her ancestors,
Yeah.
if we go back to George I, which is where her line springs from, Queen Liz,
Yeah.
basically there was no one else to take the throne. He was a distant cousin.
Yeah.
That's how the Saxe-Coburg-Goethers got the throne.
In my opinion, you let them keep their land, you let them keep their castles, and they find a way to streamline it and make money from it. Do
All right,
tours,
but-
do
but
films.
They do that now.
Yeah.
And we're still giving them the money.
No, I mean that's what I said. Just
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Just
but
streamline
we're
it.
still giving them money.
Yeah.
They can probably be self-sufficient. Let's
That's
move
what,
on
yeah,
to
that's what I said.
Yeah.
If you're going to keep them, cut the taxpayer money out and just say, look, you create money from the
Yeah,
land
yes.
and castles and treasures and whatever. You create money from that.
So let's go on to our opinions about the monarchy.
No, we need to cover the
Piers Morgan. You
Piers
go on to that
Morgan.
then. Piers Morgan.
Yeah, so basically there was a big outcry from the sort of media because Piers Morgan, he was talking about her. He was
Piers Morgan is the, I'm sure most American listeners are
Good
familiar with who he
Morning
is.
Britain.
Good
isn't he?
Morning Britain, and
Yeah.
also he's on the Britain's Got Talent.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he was on the American X Factor or
Yeah.
something, or America's Got Talent.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he was. Mates with Trump.
Is he?
He was, yeah. He went.
Crazy.
He gave Trump. Piers Morgan's a famous Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
He gave Trump an Arsenal shirt with 45 on the back, and
Trump was probably like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah, probably. But he kind of did tongue Trump's backside a little bit in the
okay.
interview. He was very sycophantic.
Weird. 'Cause
Um,
he's quite anti-gun, so and Trump's quite pro-gun. So you
yeah,
think
but
maybe
he
fall
did,
out about
he
that
did
a
kind
little
of.
bit.
It's his interview with Trump. Whether this is I haven't seen all of it.
Yeah.
But even in the British press, it was considered quite a bit of a rimming interview
Oh, okay.
where Piers kind of just rimmed Trump for 45 minutes.
I guess because Trump's a billionaire, he probably thinks there's some way of making money from him.
Yeah, like, hey, I'll be your
Further his
I'll be
career,
your
maybe.
spokes guy in the UK.
Yeah.
Oh, you know.
But yeah, this interview basically was well, not interview, sorry, kind of like a rant, really, wasn't it? He's not really spoke very kindly of her for the past few months, apparently.
Years.
And
Since they were married, really, since Harry and
Has
Meghan
it
were
been
married,
since
it's
them-
been years.
See,
yeah.
I read earlier that he wrote a piece basically congratulating them because he writes for like the Daily Mail or something.
Yeah,
And in like 2017, he wrote something as sort of like congratulatory thing.
but since,
then
that's still 4 years ago.
About a year later or something, he then wrote something about how like she needed to forgive her father and stuff and how she was breaking his heart. And then from there, he gradually got more and more hateful towards her. But anyway, basically, the weatherman, he basically gets fed up with Pierce ranting.
Yeah,
about
he's
her.
just like, you know what? I found, and I understand why he's just like, hey, dude, I found that really difficult to listen to, where you just slated her.
The
It's like she
breaking
didn't want
point-
to see you again.
Yeah.
You know, she didn't want to go out for another drink with you.
Yeah, the
Just-
breaking
you
point
slated
was,
her for like 3 years now. Just let it go.
the breaking point was basically for the weatherman was when Pierce basically said he didn't believe her suicide.
Suicidal thoughts.
Basically that she nearly committed suicide. He didn't believe that. He said, "Look, I might be wrong, but I don't believe it." But yeah, the reason why the weatherman basically went off on him was because he knows that they have a bit of a past. So like she basically was a fan of Pierce's apparently, and then she contacted him and wanted to hang out with him, and they became quite friendly. They kind of shared, because she was in Suits, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So they shared like videos of Suits and talked about the show and how it was going and stuff. And then eventually she did come to the UK because she was coming to watch her friend Serena Williams play tennis. It's tennis she's
That's
into.
right.
isn't
Yeah,
it?
tennis.
Yeah.
Yeah, she loves a bit of tennis to Serena Williams. Only one of the
Just a
most
little bit.
successful tennis
Yeah.
female tennis players of all
You
time.
can tell I don't know
Well,
much.
tennis players of all
You
time.
can tell I don't know much
I
about
don't know a lot
sports.
about it. I don't know much about
tennis isn't my
tennis.
thing.
I just
But
know who these people
She
are.
came to watch her play anyway, and then they hung out in the pub and stuff. But then I think it was later that day, actually, she then went to like some sort of like high-end club, basically, where all like the rich aristocracy and famous people go. And she met Harry and stuff, and then basically never spoke to him ever again. So he's kind of like a friend that was kind of jilted, and you suspect he maybe had a bit of a crush on her as
I
well.
think he's a bit salty about it.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what the weatherman implied, wasn't it? It was almost
Yeah.
like you were friends for a while, you hung out, you went on a kind of date, but not a date because you were married.
Maybe he wasn't married at that point.
He was married.
He's been married for 10 years.
2010, he got married.
Yeah,
to
so
this woman.
11 years, and maybe he wasn't married.
When did Harry and Meghan meet?
Oh, I suppose he would have been married, actually. They haven't been together that long, have they?
So maybe he did fancy her, maybe he didn't. But anyway, that was what the weatherman implied, is he was kind of cut off and rejected sort of thing once she met Harry.
Because he has slated her constantly. He's never had a good word to say about her. But
Apparently
yet they
he
used to be
did
friends.
when they were friends. He used to talk.
Yeah, when
quite-
they were friends.
And even after she cut him off for about 6 months to a year, he still spoke kindly of her. And when she got married, he even did the congratulatory
Well,
thing.
that's because he's
But
expected
as the
to.
years
That's what
have
you
gone
do with it.
on, it's got more and
Yeah.
more toxic and nasty. I think the reason why he kind of claims about the whole lying thing, or at the very least he doesn't believe her, is because her and her family do kind of have a little bit of a history of lying.
The
and stuff.
dad's
The dad
not a
sells-
great role model, is
Yeah,
he?
he
He's
sells stories of it.
Yeah.
And
When she became a princess, my
Yeah.
God, that was it. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, my daughter, oh, yeah, you know, she
Yeah.
shit her pants when she was 3.
Yeah. It's like, wow, she's a kid. That's what they do.
Yeah. But anything he could sell, he
Yeah.
was, and that's probably the reason why she
Yeah.
ditched him, because she doesn't speak to him anymore.
So I think Pierce,
didn't he give her an ultimatum? Sorry.
he's given us several
He's like, oh,
ultimatums
if you don't contact me
in like
the next
30 days.
30 days, then I'm going to release this story about you.
Yeah, which is appalling.
Yeah, it's Terrace, your daughter,
Yeah.
man.
So I think the reason why Pierce said it, obviously he has a personal. I'm not condoning the things he did. It was awful, but I think the reason why he said it is because the family
Are you
does.
referring to tracking the phone of murder victims?
No, I mean,
Oh, right, no.
I'm staying on story about
Oh, right,
how
okay,
he
yeah.
said he didn't believe her, because you should
Yeah.
always believe. If someone says, I had suicidal thoughts or I wanted to commit suicide, you should always
Oh,
believe.
of course, yeah, absolutely,
believe that.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I'm not trying to defend him. I'm just saying the reason why he probably thinks that, other than the personal thing, is her family does have a history of telling lies.
I can see that.
Like even in the current interview, she said that she didn't have a relationship with her sister, and her sister's basically released a tell-all book or something about
Yeah.
her. And she said,
But then
"Look,
again, the family haven't got a history of telling the truth, have
yeah."
they?
So it's like
Who I'm believing here?
but she's got photographs of her and Meghan when they were children, saying. So Meghan said, "We didn't really have a relationship. I was raised like an only child." child. Yeah, her sister said, here's several photos of us growing up together.
Remember that Christmas back in 1987?
Yeah,
Oh,
so
great.
it's like the reason why Pierce is saying, "Oh, I don't believe her," is because clearly the whole family has a history of lying.
Yeah.
You know, her sister probably. Her dad sells stories for money. Her sister sold a book about her sister for money.
Yeah.
So that's why Meghan doesn't have anything to do with them.
But does Meghan need the money
No.
at this point to lie?
No. So they're both cashing in on their sister. And then Meghan's saying, "Oh, well, I didn't have anything to do with my sister." But then her sister has evidence. And that's kind of where I'm like, well, Meghan, you've kind of sort of been caught in a bit of a lie there.
But nowadays, she doesn't need the money to lie, does she? So
that's true.
Where are we on the truth factor for this interview? I mean, I think 50-50. I think maybe 60-40.
I completely agree with you, to be fair.
Maybe 60-40.
I think that
mean,
some of the things she said is because obviously she's probably thinking, fuck, me and Harry need to find some money from somewhere. We need to generate some money. So,
but I heard they weren't paid for that interview.
No, they weren't, but it's going to generate a ton of work for her and it'll probably generate some money for him.
It's generating publicity.
Oprah's the most famous interviewer on the planet.
Yeah,
so she's worth billions. So
isn't she one of the richest women on the planet?
Yeah, she's worth billions.
Yeah. So
it'll open up a ton of doors for him.
That's it, yeah.
Because let's face it,
we're taking no money, but
well, in the interview, she said she wants to live the quiet, peaceful life, basically, and she doesn't want all this attention. So why have an interview with the most famous interviewer on the planet? That's completely contradicting what you've just said.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Absolutely. Because it doesn't listen to the hypocrisy of the argument.
So I honestly think the whole family are kind of like, they're like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. So she's obviously doing this interview.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah,
There's
she's doing
signs in their eyes.
She's doing this interview because she's thinking, well, me and Harry are going to need to make money in America.
Yeah,
and which is fair play to her. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. But she's obviously already been caught in a lie by saying, "Oh, well, me and my sister didn't really have a relationship." And when her sister's like, "Well, here you go. Here's pictures of us," it's like, well, she didn't fake those pictures. Those are you as kids.
Do you think that there's a slightly cynical ploy by the Americans absolutely loving the British royal family?
Oh, yeah.
And loving Prince Harry because he's like the black sheep of the royal family in a way.
They could have moved anywhere.
And a war veteran, so he's ticking all the boxes. He's a rebel. He's a war veteran. He's a charity worker. He's ticking all these boxes.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, he's learned from what his mother did. I'll give him that. He's an empathetic. How do you say it? Empathic.
Empath, yeah.
He's an empathic human being.
Yeah.
I fully believe all the charity work he does is like.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he's a great person. Definitely,
he's a nice guy. But is it like, look, hey Harry, we've got to cash in on the fact you're a prince.
Yeah, well,
because the American public loves the royal family.
Part of it will be she'll want to go home back to the country she came from, which is why wouldn't you want to do that? I mean, she probably doesn't feel very comfortable being in the country she's been in.
But she won't be in Britain
with the press constantly hounding her. So America would feel more comfortable. She had a lot of work here, so it would be easier for her to pick up work again. But the interview was clearly a way to open up new doors for them.
Yeah.
Why else would you take it?
Yeah,
it's obvious.
Do you think about what do you think about the baby being? Is it going? How black's it going to be?
Right.
You don't go for that.
What?
Yeah, when they were allegedly asked by the royal family member, how dark skinned do you think the baby's going to be?
Yeah, maybe that's true.
Yeah. I would go for that. I would,
like,
given the
sort of older, sort of more racist royal.
I mean,
didn't they come out and say who it was actually?
No, they didn't. And they said it wasn't the Queen or Philip.
No,
Philip being in saying that. I think it might have been like one of the uncles, not Andy. I remember the great uncles and the Queen's cousins, or the Duke of York, who wouldn't give information about his.
Yeah.
How black do you think the baby's going to be? Ha ha ha.
Yeah, maybe they did. Maybe they did.
Something like that.
But then again, I don't know.
I think then is that what passes for humour amongst them?
I don't know.
You don't know. Yeah. I mean, what passes for humour amongst me and you is very different from what passes for humour amongst, the people next door.
Yeah. But then again, if you're going to get really into the nitty gritty of it, Harry is the most palest guy on the planet.
Yeah,
and she's very pale too because she's mixed race, isn't she?
Yeah.
So. Surely common sense would say, even if you were some deluded...
Unless you get the sometimes there's a... it kind of...
Skips a generation.
Yeah. But all of a sudden you're going to... Like an African-looking prince. Oh, we're coming to America, wouldn't it? That'd be ace.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine hey, here's Princess so and so, and she's like a proud black woman with an afro, with comb stuck in.
Yeah,
I'd be ace.
It would
I'd
be.
love that.
it would be cool. But yeah, you'd have to be a pretty deluded noble to think that that's going to be even an issue. The child is clearly going to be more pale than her.
But how
And
much of
she's pale
attitude's
anyway.
changed?
Huh?
How much of attitude's changed?
Yeah,
in
but
that?
I mean, you'd have to be dumb to go, you know what, this guy is whiter than white and she's very pale because she's mixed race. And you'd have to be really dumb to go, you know what, this child's going to be very black.
But are they the brightest?
I don't know, but...
I mean, we can look at Boris. I mean, they're educated at Eton.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, these place makes leaders, and apparently they're all dumb as fuck.
I would never rule it out. I mean, she's brought it up and he said it happened as well, so I'd never rule it out. But I mean...
He's got no reason to lie about that.
Exactly,
though, has he?
yeah. So I'd say maybe I would lean more towards that being true, but I would say that noble is extremely fucking stupid.
I think it's like a cousin or
Yeah, it would have to be-
an uncle
It'd have to
or
be
a great
really,
uncle.
really stupid.
I think Prince Andrew was probably there in his pants, just jacking off
Jacking it,
slowly.
just jacking it.
Like, oh, how black do you think the baby's going to be?
Yeah.
You know, maybe.
But yeah,
That's my perv
to go
voice.
back to Pierce,
Peter,
Is-
sorry, yeah, of
is
course.
should he have reacted that way, walking
Storming
out?
off.
No, and it was really unprofessional. Just not even talking about Meghan, it was really
It's a bit
unprofessional.
snowflakey.
And I think you've been wanting to call him a snowflake for weeks, haven't
well,
you?
he's a guy that's thrown that term around in
Yeah,
the past.
yeah. It was really unprofessional to walk off your own show.
Snowflakey.
And he should
almost.
have been fired for that, or at the very least given a severe warning.
Well, yeah, bring us back to the suicidal thoughts. It's like, well,
You never question that.
you
You
never
never question.
Of course you don't.
That's
You
a
don't-
line. Like,
And
bear
there's-
in mind when I say about the whole family situation, I'm not saying that I agree with him is when he said, "Oh, I think she's a liar," or "I think she's probably not telling the truth on that." What I'm saying is probably not everything she said in that interview was true. The suicide thing is you're never in someone else's head, so you don't know how they feel about
That's it.
things. So that is one. Whether or not he thinks that, you don't announce that because it undermines everyone that's gone through that. Not just her; it undermines everyone that's ever felt that way. It's one
Of
line
course.
you don't cross.
And I think there was a meme that went viral,
Yeah.
a tweet that went viral. It was like, yeah, he basically, like, you might say that you disagree with Meghan Markle because, oh, she felt suicidal. That's bollocks.
Yeah.
But every single one of your mates who's felt that way and hasn't told
then
you is then going to
yeah.
think you're a dick.
Yeah.
Because everyone has them
Yeah.
thoughts.
We can look at this
And
interview.
it doesn't matter how rich and privileged you are.
Yeah.
Everybody has them thoughts.
Yeah, we can look at that interview and we can pick apart and say that's a lie or that's probably not 100% true or that's opinion. But the one thing you cannot do is tell someone how they feel.
Yeah.
You can't draw that line.
You don't know how they feel.
And even if he
Yeah.
thinks, you know what, she seems like she's probably lying about that for sympathy, that's his opinion. Doesn't mean he should
Yeah.
share that with the world.
That's it. And to share it in such an aggressive way.
He's allowed his opinion.
Yeah.
He's a
Of course he is.
free thinker.
But it's like, hey, I wouldn't believe her if she was reading the weather to me.
yeah.
And it's ironic that the weatherman the next day said, well, I think you're just slating on the girl.
It was just
It was difficult to watch.
It was unnecessary and it was hateful. It came
Yeah.
from a place of hate,
yeah.
and it was unprofessional.
So why does he
to
hate
walk
her?
away.
Is it that maybe he had a bit of a crush on her?
I don't know. I wouldn't like to say, but he
There's
shouldn't have.
definitely something salty going on there.
If that guy had an opinion, the weatherman had an opinion, that's fine. He's entitled to that. And Pierce should have debated him. He shouldn't have walked off. That was a sign that I've watched some right wing people and some
You've
left
got a
wing.
debate. That's
Yeah,
the point.
I've watched right wing people like reacting to that, and I've watched left wing people reacting to that. And the left wing are basically mocking him, and the right wing are defending him. I don't think that they should defend him because it was unprofessional, and he did step the line. Mental health is a line, whether you believe her or not, it doesn't matter. You don't step that line, and he stepped it. But then the left wing mocking him are just as bad as him. And the reason why they're just as bad as him is because if he's not a strong character, and whether or not you think he's a strong character doesn't matter, because he must be to a certain extent, because that constant mocking could be enough for him to take his life.
Yeah.
And that's
yeah.
why we as a collective need to stop being the mob and going, oh, look at him, he's evil, he's blah, blah, blah.
Well,
If he was a weak man, he could take his life.
look at Morbid.
Yeah.
from Hotel Cecil.
Exactly.
That dude just wanted to make music and express his art. He was hounded by the online mob.
Exactly.
He nearly killed himself. He can't make music anymore.
Exactly. So,
So
Pierce,
you-
I don't agree with you, and I think you stepped the line. But at the same time, let's not attack him for
Yeah.
because he did something stupid.
No, let's attack him for hanging around with Gazelle Maxwell and being one of her mates.
Yeah, it's a little
Let's
sketchy.
attack him for hacking the phone of a murder victim's family.
Yeah.
Let's attack him for legitimate things.
The one thing I will say about Meghan, though, and the reason why I would maybe defend him a little bit based on her character and stuff, and the reason why he is a bit with her character is because that interview is definitely a puff piece, because at no time did she ask Meghan about the alleged staff coming out and saying that she was abusive to them.
No, that's true.
There was several members of staff that have come out and basically said the reason why her and Kate had a bust up was because Kate basically had her out on the fact that she was abusive to the staff.
Yes, but then I also think there's a thing where they said that it was actually the other way around, and that Kate made her cry, and apparently that Kate sent flowers and an apology note to her.
Yeah.
But that's only come out in that interview that hasn't been
but
counteracted by the palace.
The reason why they fell out and the reason why they argued is because she was treating the staff.
All right, so she was bullying the
awfully,
staff.
and
Kate came in, went
Kate
over the
tried
top,
to defend it.
made her cry,
Yeah.
and then Kate went, "Oh, you know what? I'll send a apology."
I
basket."
don't know about
I've
the
no
kind
idea.
of the aftermath of it.
Yeah,
I
apparently
know-
there was Kate sent the flowers and the note,
Yeah,
but that was said in the interview. So
yeah. Maybe Kate.
there
lost-
hasn't been an official rebuttal.
Yeah,
From that
maybe
side,
Kate
from the
lost her
palace side.
temper and she went too far.
Yeah,
I
maybe,
mean,
who knows?
if she's friends with the staff, if she considers them as friends as well,
Yeah.
and Meghan's treating them, but apparently several members of staff that literally it's their job to kind of be basically their personal assistants and do whatever they want. Apparently, several of them have come out and say, she treated us awfully. She was yelling at us. She was texting us at 4 or 5 a.m. telling us she wanted us to do this, this, and this before the morning. Treating them awfully.
Yeah.
And that was never brought up in the interview.
The Queen's never dressed herself.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible.
So someone's a dresser. All right, then. So I think we've gone through the scandals of the royal family of the
Yeah, we've
last
covered
sort of
it all.
100 odd years.
Yeah.
Hope you
We
found it
gave the
interesting.
people what they wanted. All they wanted
Exactly.
to know is the Meghan Markle thing.
Exactly, they did, didn't they?
Yeah, they didn't care
But,
about the history.
So where do you stand on the future of the British monarchy?
I think we both stand in the same sort of spot, really. It's pointless. It's the past 100 years. The reason why I'm a big history buff, and you've obviously followed it, and you know the current history, but I stopped following it over 100 years ago because I think that there.
Did you start following when Richard the Lionheart jumped off that boat in Acre and
basically
screamed, "Who wants to be the first to die?" and then advanced into the Muslim horde with his war hammer and shield.
Basically, that's when we still needed the nobility. That's when we needed the royal family because they were leaders. But we don't need them anymore.
Well, no, they're a constitutional monarch.
Yeah,
although they have a lot more say than we're led to believe.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, but they've become useless. They've outstayed their welcome.
Well,
Essentially,
no, they keep things in a status quo for the rich and powerful.
Yeah.
So like the Queen, I mean, Boris lied to Parliament.
Yeah.
And
he's lied a few times.
He's lied a few.
Which time?
But lying to Parliament and lying to the Queen by extension
Yeah.
is a jail-worthy offence.
Shouldn't he be in jail?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because he's minor gentry,
He gets away with
he
it.
gets away with it, and that's where this kind of blurs me. I mean, Charles is
Political corruption at its finest.
Charles is referred to as the spider because of his handwriting. It's very joined up and all squiggly, like a spider's run across the page.
Yeah.
But he writes letters to lawmakers
Yeah.
and to Parliament saying, "Oh, I don't like this law you're putting through. I don't like that law you're putting through." They have a lot more. I think
they'd like to admit.
I think about 3,000 laws in the last few thousand. In the last
Yeah,
few
they
years.
can block it as well. Can't they?
They've put stuff on.
Yeah, they can block laws if they want to,
She could have put the kibosh on Theresa May's government
if she wanted to.
if she wanted to, because they had to side with the GUP to get the votes.
Yeah.
But she went, "I stay out of it." But she could have gone,
She
"Well,
could
you know
have if she
what?
wanted to.
I don't like those guys." So,
Yeah, wasn't there? Was it Boris? There was a politician. I think it was Boris actually who had to go and apologise to the Queen because
I think it was Boris.
overstepped his mark,
Yeah.
hadn't he? And basically, she said, "I want a public apology," because basically, if you don't get an apology, you go into jail. Probably for all those dodgy stuff he's been doing the past couple of
Yeah.
years.
But I don't think we need it. I think it's a waste of money.
I think the listeners can tell we don't like Boris.
I think the royal family is. I mean, as much as I kind of admire Charles's attempts to streamline it,
I think the only way we could possibly justify keeping it is if the taxpayer cuts them off.
yeah, make it self-sufficient.
Yeah, and you'd be like, look, there is more than enough ways in today's society. Make YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Do something. There's put the Queen on Instagram. She would make so much money.
No, just
Make her an
I think-
Instagram model.
I think when the Queen dies,
Yeah, abolish it.
get rid of it.
But they won't. But if they're going to keep it, get rid of the financial tax on the economy.
Yeah, get rid of the bird. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like
They have
It's
castles.
a lot of money.
They have
It's a lot of
castles.
money.
They have land. They have
I'm going to
businesses.
Google it now. Actually, for
I sent you some stats earlier.
yeah,
Remember that link?
You did.
Read that off for the listener. I bet they want to know that. Because, I mean, for a long time, I even said it when we've had this conversation, don't they bring, because I never bothered Googling it because I didn't really care that much about the royal family, but I said, don't they bring in some money to the economy through tourism?
0.3%.
And now, obviously, I found the stats today and it's very low. I mean, 0.3 isn't bad for one family. Don't get me wrong.
No, but the French royal palaces
Yeah.
make more money than our fully functioning monarchy.
So why don't we
and the
just,
French killed theirs in the 1700s.
so why don't we just have palace tours?
Yeah,
Move them out and have palace tours.
exactly.
Sell your palace to us. Or
Yeah.
rent the palace out. Rent it out. There you
Yeah.
go. They get money
Um,
for tours.
they cost £345 million a year, which could employ 15,000 new teachers, 15,500 new nurses or firefighters, or 17,000 new police officers.
Wow.
They are non-political.
But they are.
Prince Charles, the heir apparent, has been caught routinely meddling in political issues.
So they are political.
Yeah,
Yeah, they claim they stay out of it.
yeah.
The Queen tries to a lot. I've noticed she does try to stay out. of it.
She tried to stay out of it, but
Unless
then again,
it's
how
really-
much does she do behind the scenes that we
That's
don't know
true.
about? Because the old Dia's still got that shield of immortality.
She gives off the
If it
appearance
co-
she stays
If
out
it
of
comes out when she's dead
Yeah.
that she was actually a fucking reptilian lizard, fucking lizard,
Gotta find a way to
pedo-
bring it in.
Absolutely. What happens if it comes out that when she's dead, actually she was a child snatching paedophile cannibal?
Then it would change public opinion.
Of course it
completely.
would.
Yeah.
But when she's dead, it doesn't matter, does
Doesn't
it?
matter, yeah. But yeah, public perception of her right now is she tends to stay away. Although I have heard stories of her blocking stuff.
She does block
in
stuff.
Parliament
Yeah.
before.
She can. She has the power to
Yeah.
block laws.
Yeah, and I've heard her do that.
And
like,
they
in
do
the
it a
past
lot.
Few years, yeah.
Basically, mate, in any country in the world, if the 98%, 99% want something done, it only ever happens unless the 1% wants it
Agrees
done
to it,
too.
yeah.
That's why life will never get better.
Yeah. Is there more facts? Was that it?
No, why should we abolish the monarchy?
Why should we?
Oh,
That seems
Apparently-
like a question.
every person should have the right to vote for their head of state.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, we do.
It's fundamentally wrong to accept that such wealth and privilege is built into our system
Yeah.
and that we can't change it. Nobody should be born into such wealth and power.
Not unless they're like it was a business sort of thing.
Well, yeah. Or, because let's face it, there's been a lot of inbred kings.
Yeah.
Not necessarily in Britain, but
I agree
the
with that. With
Habsburg
nobility.
dynasty.
Yeah.
My God. Listener, go and check out pictures of the Habsburg dynasty.
Yeah.
Right, and see how inbred they were.
Wow.
The last one only had one working ball.
I agree with that in the nobility and aristocracy, but I disagree with that if like your parent, like say, if you're the kid of Elon Musk or something.
Well, that's,
I
yeah,
mean,
but,
he's made his money,
yeah.
so inherited money's fine.
But inheriting something because your ancestor was someone in plate armor who killed the right people
Yeah, it's bullshit.
is bullshit. No human should have to view themselves as a subject under an individual who was born better than them.
I don't. Anyway,
Oh no, but a lot of people do. There's a lot of bootlickers out there.
true.
Oh, God bless you, Your Majesty. Oh, fuck you. She came out of a vagina, same as I did. She still came out the same fucking hole I did.
Yeah, I wouldn't treat her any different to anyone else. To
Well,
be fair.
people do.
I wouldn't.
Apparently, this one's a bit controversial, but the current royal family encouraged the growth of the empire in a centuries-long racist effort to oppress 1/3 of the world's population. You can't judge the standards of the past on the standards of today. I'm
that was a
afraid.
very liberal site.
Everybody was trying to build an empire.
Yeah.
It's just that we did it better than everybody else.
Yeah, the site I got that.
So it boils down to
the
at
site
the
I
end of
got
the day.
those facts from.
Yeah.
Very left.
Nazi connotations.
Well, yeah, you brought them up at the beginning.
Yeah. And there was a lot of the aristocracy of this country thought the Nazis were all right.
They're all right dudes.
So, do you want to get rid of the disabled and the poor and the people who can't work? Yeah, well, they're not used to us. Yeah. They can't make us any money. Fuck them off. I mean, it's worth pointing out.
You'd probably get on with them then. You Amazon lover.
It's worth pointing out the British invented concentration camps.
Wow. Did they really?
Yeah, we did. We gave the Nazis their worst ideas.
Wow.
We weren't at a gas chamber level, but we were certainly in starvation and abuse level.
Wow.
So, yeah. Is this something we want?
It feels like it's something we should probably phase out over time.
I was told this week about heritage, and that we should keep our heritage.
Yeah, I agree with that to an extent.
I'm a fan of that.
As long as it's not too costly.
Yeah. Well, this is it. Because I think that if we look too far towards the past, we forget where we are now.
Yeah.
And history is there to learn lessons from.
Yeah.
We should look at that and go, well, these people are in the same situation as us. What did they do?
Yeah.
And if they made the wrong decision, then we take the other route.
The right decision.
The right decision.
That's why I disagreed with all these statues being ripped down in the UK and America. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Maybe vote to get them removed, but don't forcibly remove them.
That's
because
it.
They're there as a reminder. Yeah, I get it.
They take on different meanings now.
Originally, they were put there to say, oh, yeah, thanks, slaver, for forcing black people to build our town. That's what they were originally there for. But now they're there as a reminder to be like, let's never do that again.
Exactly.
So let's put them in a museum and be like, that guy, yeah, he built this town, but he didn't really build this town. He forced people to build this town.
Let's change the thing underneath.
Yeah.
So this guy was once a hero, but now he's considered a
by
villain.
our standards, he's a villain, and let's not repeat his actions.
Let's not repeat his actions, and there should be a reminder of how the zeitgeist changes. 200 years ago, it would have been acceptable for you or I to bang a 14-year-old.
And now it's not.
No, it isn't.
And that's good.
That's good. That changes. In Texas, in America, up to the 1970s, the age of consent was 14.
Yeah. Didn't Elvis get married to a 14-year-old?
Yeah, I think he did. He got married really.
She was 15 and he was 17.
Yeah. Jerry Lee Lewis married a 15-year-old cousin.
Yeah, wow.
And when he came to the UK, they wouldn't let them sleep in the same room.
Yeah.
So, your age of consent is different, but, you're both in separate rooms.
So things
change.
Yeah, history changes.
Times change, the zeitgeist changes.
But we need to remember the past to make sure we don't repeat it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think to myself, well, do we need this now?
Well, that's the problem with this whole cancel culture, isn't it? It's it's forcing us to try and pretend like the past didn't happen.
Yeah, but exactly. So but everyone's entitled to an opinion.
Yeah.
But also everyone is entitled to the reaction.
Yeah. This is what's happened with Pierce. It's like you said the other day, this is why he probably quit before he got fired, because the investigation in him now.
He'll just go and work on GB News, which he's always been Murdoch's mate. I mean, he was head of the Sun. He was editor of the Sun. Yeah. That's where he hacked the dead girl's family's messages.
He was entitled to his opinion, but now he needs to live with the consequences because his opinion came from an angry place. It didn't come from a place of logic.
I think that he'll go on to that GB News and he'll probably become bigger than ever.
Yeah, he will do. He will do, because the rich will always be rich.
Because and Rupert Murdoch's the wealthiest media mogul on the planet.
Yeah.
And he wants people that stir up opinion.
Yeah.
Piers is probably going to fit that bill.
That's almost a good thing, though. I mean, yeah, we don't have to agree with Pierce.
But is it if they're expressing an agenda?
Well, I don't like Pierce. I've never liked Pierce. I think he's a horrible, nasty person. But I think we need people like that, because then it does invoke debate. I think taking him off the platform's a bad idea.
See, the worst of it is in the summer when he was slagging off the Tories.
He slags off everyone.
COVID. Yeah, he's an equal opportunity slagger.
Yeah.
But I think he went a bit over the board with Meghan.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
But what he was saying about Matt Hancock and Tory MPs,
Yeah.
and when he had him on the show, he grilled them like, where their failures. Why are the people 1,000 people dying every day?
Yeah.
You should be doing better than this.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, me. I actually agree with him.
Yeah. That's the thing. He's an okay. I won't say he's an awful person because I'm sure he's not an awful person. But
Jeremy Clarkson had a fight with him, and they're both pretty awful people.
He's an overly opinionated person with some sort of more aggressive opinions. But we need that in our society. We need people that point stuff out so we can negotiate and debate it.
And that's it. And that's
what I thought was embarrassing and silly was him walking off.
Yeah.
I don't think you can just some right wing people like, well, yeah, he did that because he didn't want to engage because he thought that the way that guy was talking was just a way of provoking him, trying to upset him. So rather than engage,
no, debate
he walked
him,
away.
Exchange
yeah, exactly. And I was like, no, I disagree with that. Yeah, you can walk away, but if you walk away, you're just agreeing with him. So
if you walk away, you're a bit in defeat.
Yeah. So just
I can't be doing with this. No. You're being the term you love to float around the most, the snowflake.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you're being.
Debate.
You need to
discuss.
debate. You want to be a man. You want to be this proud man. You stand up and you say, well, all right, then I think this, and this.
Yeah.
Give me a rebuttal.
He has people on his show all the time and he debates them to the point where they don't even get time to talk. They don't even get, he just talks over them. He's louder and louder and louder. And they're like, well, you're not even listening. His opinion matters that much. And that's fine. But then you have to be willing to negotiate and debate with other people. You can't just say, oh, okay, that's upset me. That's hurt me personally. I'm going to walk off. It's like, yeah, a lot of things you say hurt and people personally.
Oh, how terrible it's hurt you personally. Yeah. You're a fucking journalist.
They stay on the show. They debate you. They try not to make it emotional, even though you're attacking them personally. The amount of times I've seen him have interviews with people and he's just skipped the topic, the political topic they're talking about and attacked them personally.
Yeah.
And I find that a very weak way of debating someone. You never attack them personally. You attack their policies.
Well, if you've got your notes in front of you.
Yeah.
You should know what they're going to come out and say. And if they do throw you, then you have to hold your hand up and say, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
You throw me on that. But let's go back to this point.
Yeah. He had a young woman.
And you attack it again.
He had a young woman on there about a month ago, and she said she wasn't going to take the vaccine because they hadn't done enough research on how it would affect pregnant women. And by the time it'd be her turn, she'd probably be pregnant because she was trying for a baby. Yeah. And he called her an anti-vaxxer. She said, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. My parents have been vaccinated. I've pushed all my elderly relatives to get a vaccine. I just want to have a child first and not risk anything.
Yeah.
And he was like, so you're an anti-vaxxer then? It's you're the reason why people aren't going along with this. You're creating like sort of misinformation. She's like, no, I've just done the research and there's no studies on pregnant people.
And it's just almost like they've thrown someone under the bus to be bullied by him.
Rather than attacking...
Do you think there's an element of bullying to it?
Definitely.
In interview style?
Definitely. Because, I mean, there was at no point did he go, okay, so what are your stats to prove your evidence? He just went, so you're an anti-vaxxer then? It's like, well, no, never once did I say I'm against vaccines.
But that is the UK media nowadays.
She said, I've had all my vaccines. Like, me personally now, Sean has had all of his childhood vaccines, but I'm going to wait on the vaccine because, one, I don't think I need it, and two, I don't think that there's enough research on it. I honestly don't. I think that something that's new like that shouldn't be forced upon people. People should be like, you know what, I'll wait until I know it's safe if I want to. That should be the person's prerogative. And also, if you don't need it, you should be like, you know what, I don't need it, I don't want it. And that should be also their personal choice. And the fact that he's saying I'm not an anti-vaxxer, I think vaccines have been life-saving for many, many people. They're a godsend, but at the same time, it should be your choice. I mean, I've been saying for months, we haven't got enough evidence on these. And today I read that the many countries now are refusing to administer the AstraZeneca one, which I thought would probably be the most promising one, because it's causing mass blood clots in people.
Yeah, but you've also got to look at Sweden, I think is the one. They've suspended it for 2 weeks.
A lot of countries are starting to do it. It's more than one.
But I suppose you got to look at, have these people had blood clots in the past? We don't know yet. They're examining it.
The thing is, it's enough people to be worried.
But they've only suspended it for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's more than one country now. It's
several
countries.
Still only 2 weeks. We'll see.
Well, that's just Sweden. It's not. It's not all the countries.
I only know the Sweden case. To be fair,
there's several countries now, and some of them are like suspending it until further evidence. They're not putting a date on it.
Glad I had the fight, sir.
Yeah, but this is the thing, see.
Just altering my DNA, making me grow an extra dick.
This is the thing, is I'm a perfectly healthy person who probably wouldn't be vastly affected by COVID at all. So why should I risk something that potentially could give me a blood clot? I'm weighing up the pros and cons of both, and I'm like, I prefer my survival with the COVID. And if I was 70, my attitude would be different.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be classed as an anti-vaxxer, and he shouldn't be ranting at people for having that opinion.
Yeah.
With anything in life, you weigh up the costs, and you're like, well, if I'd been in like 100 car accidents in my lifetime, I'd be like, maybe I'm more likely to be in another car accident because maybe there's something unlucky about me. Maybe I don't jump in that car again. Maybe I just walk. You weigh up those pros and cons. But yeah, I do think I think we need people like that because they invoke conversation.
Yes.
And whether we need to like him or not is regardless.
But
I don't like him.
I've got no objection to him being objective.
Yeah.
What I have an opinion with is like, I don't like how this guy's speaking to me, so I'm just going to walk off. Well, no. Debate.
Yeah.
Engage. Have conversation, because without conversation, all we are is Neanderthals stumping around growling at one another.
If you're going to say, I don't believe her, even though you have
That's great. You don't believe her.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That's fine.
But
give us your evidence.
What you don't believe because she's an actress?
Yeah.
Well, you're an actor, Piers. In a way, you're reading a script. You're a reporter. You're reporting this to me. Yeah. But that's an opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't want an opinion from you. I want a fact. Because this is news.
Yeah. If his only evidence, she's been caught in a few lies before, mate. You've been caught in a few lies before.
You got caught hacking a dead girl's family's phone.
Exactly.
You're a terrible person.
Yeah. I don't like to brand people like that because people.
That was a terrible thing to do, though.
It was a terrible thing to do. Yeah, and I mean,
you've sucked Rupert Murdoch's dick on more than one
reporters
opinion.
Tend to be sociopaths, don't they?
They do.
They're not usually very nice
people.
He's
sucked Murdoch's dick.
But I don't like to. People are intricate, aren't they? They do bad things and they do good things simultaneously. A lot of people. So I don't like to brandish them and say that person's awful, because sometimes they do good things and you're like, you can't say they're awful if they've done good things and charitable things as well. But if all he has, the only evidence he has, evidence will put air quotes, is, she's been caught in a few lies. It's like, mate, you've been caught in a few lies.
Yeah, you've been caught in a lot more lies than she has.
It's not evidence to say that you are not in her head. You can't say how she's feeling. Yeah.
You haven't spoken to her for years.
Yeah, maybe being a royal is incredibly tough. We don't know. We've never been royals, and she's just been pushed into that life. Maybe the fact that the strain on her relationship with her family because of all of them being opportunists for money. Maybe that's put a big strain on her. Maybe, her treating the staff did actually happen, but it happened because she was taking it out on them. Yeah. Because of the stress she was under. We don't know these things because we don't live in her head. And for him to say, I don't believe her, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't, that's fine, mate. But be prepared to be challenged on that, because mental health is a serious thing.
Also be prepared to be challenged on it if your TV channel is trying to sort of get a mental health dialogue going.
Yeah, they're massive for that.
Because we've all been in lockdown for the best part of a fucking year.
Yeah.
And we're all going slightly crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, let's get Britain talking again. Let's speak to each other about our mental problems. Don't be ashamed if you've been feeling suicidal. Don't be ashamed. Talk to someone. And he's going, I don't believe her. Yeah. She's an actor. Fuck her.
Well,
then that's not the message you want to put out.
Well, for example, you remember lockdown number 1? That was incredibly tough for me.
Yeah.
I pride myself on being a very productive person, work long hours, work a lot, keep my life busy. And I was essentially told to stay at home for
you struggled.
4 months. Yeah, it was
tough. A few weeks you struggled.
Mental health really struggled. And now
you were brooding like Batman.
Yeah, and obviously
your Batman face on.
Yeah, obviously now I've found ways to cope with that, and I'm doing Zoom sessions, so I'm working a little bit more and I'm a little bit busier. And obviously now you've been forced to isolate again, but that means you're essentially isolating on your own, and this one's been tough for you.
It has,
because last time, you had my awesome company.
Well, it was all right.
And now
I just spent a lot of time in the garden with music and beer.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you had weather. You had the weather. The weather was great. And then you could hang out with me in the evenings, and you've not really had that because I've been working the Zoom sessions in the evening. So mental health is such a big deal right now.
I have struggled this last few weeks.
Yeah. And for him to just say that, it undermines everyone, because mental health is, life is getting tougher for people. Like after the Second World War, like there's a reason why people say, you know, that was a great time for people. The economy started booming. Everyone could buy a house. Everything was cheap.
Because we built council houses.
Yeah,
and,
standard of life was great, but it's getting tougher. I mean, to buy a house now for my generation, I think it's something like you have to be 32 or 33 for the first. I mean, I'm luckier, and a few of other people I know are luckier, but the average is something like 32 or 33.
I've never had to buy one.
Yeah. We all inherit one probably,
Yeah.
But
well, it's mine already.
Yeah, so it's getting, the standard of life is getting more difficult, and like you say, it's probably because of the Tory government. I don't know. You could be right. You've had to deal with it for longer than I have, but in the working force sort of thing. But it's the mental health thing, and now COVID hit is been so tough for so many people, and then him to come out and say that, completely irresponsible. Really irresponsible.
Tragic, in fact. It's just so you just killed your career, mate. Yeah. Well, you've killed your career.
He hasn't killed his career.
No, he's killed his career on mainstream TV, which is what he wanted to get back into.
All he'll do
He'll probably get sacked as a judge on Britain's Got Talent now.
Yeah, like you said.
That comes back.
Yeah, he will. Yeah,
that's a big paying role for him. He just lost that.
Like
income.
you said, all that'll happen is they'll create a far right TV show, and he'll just host that.
Yeah, well,
he'll host that.
But that's because he's been forced into that.
Yeah.
But I do see where you can't. Anything else you just said, I'd have probably just gone, peers.
Yeah.
You know,
he's obnoxious.
He's obnoxious. He's a twat.
Yeah.
But I don't agree with him on this, but fine. But when he starts like going, oh, well, I don't believe her.
Yeah.
Well, you got to go, well, you know what? One day, if you ever come out and say, oh, I'm depressed, well, you know what? I don't believe you.
Yeah. And this
works both ways.
This is the thing, though, isn't it? It's like, if he gets attacked now by the mob, the cancel culture mob, he could end up killing himself.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't.
I doubt it, though.
No, I doubt it, because he's quite a stubborn.
He's ego-driven.
He's ego-driven, but this is why we have to be so careful. We can't attack him for the horrible things he said, but at the same time, we have to lose respect for him and maybe not endorse him.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't cancel him, but at the same time, you don't reward him for that. We can't all say, oh, you know, fuck that guy, he's an awful person. But at the same time, we have to be like, that wasn't cool, Pierce. You're gonna have to reap what you sow. People's public opinion of you is going to drop. We're probably not going to watch whatever you're going to be on now.
That's it.
Yeah.
It all sucks.
Yeah.
But I think we should probably end it there.
Man. Yeah.
That's been an in-depth study into royal scandals.
I think I went on a little bit of a mental health rant at the end.
No, I think we all need that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's kind of like you can have your opinions. I mean, sometimes we meet people in our lives that we know 100% without a doubt they are literally just fishing for sympathy.
Yeah,
we get that sometimes. You get someone that says,
yeah, people that thrive on drama.
Yeah, that thrive on drama, and they're like, you know what, my life's awful. This happens to me. This happens to me, and you know that they just want you to go, oh no, that's awful. I hope you're okay.
PM me, hun.
Yeah, that's it. Your Facebook posters that really they just want attention. They're like, oh yeah, it's awful, but I don't want to talk about it. It's like, well, then why did you post it?
Yeah.
So we get that, but when somebody literally says outright, I felt suicidal, you don't undermine that.
No.
That's a big statement to make on national TV. But yeah, I could rant about that all day. Yeah. So let's sign off, man.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening. Follow us on Facebook on Devil's Advocate. Follow Cutting to the Bull on Facebook as well. Cutting to the Bull and the Post to the Apocalypse. I'm on there.
Follow us on Anchor.
SoundCloud, Spotify, wherever there's podcasts.
If you want to pay us, Patreon,
that'd be great. That'd be nice.
Yeah,
subscribe to us.
Give us your money.
Send us your fucking money.
Ben's run out of beer. He needs more beer money.
Yeah, honestly, thank you very much. I'm Ben. Thanks for listening. Don't drink the Flavor Aid. Don't join a cult. But always form a shield wall.
Yeah. And don't be a dick. I've been Sean. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much.
We are Devil's Advocate.